Oh, we are live.
What's up, everybody?
What's going on?
Yeah.
I look over and we're live.
Random
Shaking a
water ball.
He's shaking a bottle of water. Welcome to another episode of the Breakdown Pair, number 16. Did we ever get this many on the Rise and Grinds, by the way?
Yeah, I don't know.
We did quite a bit, but
Yeah,
that was just two idiots drinking in front of a camera on a Friday morning when everybody had to work.
Yeah. All right.
Got a fun night planned for you.
Yeah, we got some pretty cool stuff to talk about. There is a PBA finals going on right now, so I understand that some people are watching that. So where do we pull that up somewhere and see where we're standing with that? I know that it was Jesper was the top seed, Nick Pate was number 2, Pga was number 3, and then Don Barrett was number 4. And we've been busy doing some logistics and technical stuff, getting set up for the stream tonight. So see what we're.
Well, that's not confusing or anything.
Oh, okay. Well,
Don Barrett 211.
So yeah, Pga
is now is pulling Jesper.
So
let's go, Pga.
Yeah, it'd be really cool. And Pga and Jesper were almost neck and neck.
Jesper,
and they paired together in the final round there. So got to watch that today on Flow Bowling. That was kind of fun. And of course, Pga is local here, so we see him at tournaments all the time and know him fairly well. So fun to see him doing well.
He's a good guy. It's Viper, 37-foot Viper, and they're using a Kegel machine.
Yeah, which is interesting. Let's do this one first.
It's going for the good stuff.
Yep.
I'm sure a lot of you are watching, but I'll keep my eyes on the standings here.
Welcome to the Breakdown Pair, where the beer flows like wine.
California.
Yeah. Something about the salmon of Capistrano.
And we have the same glasses tonight. So really high tech. Or classy, I should say, not high tech.
Yeah, boy, she got those full. Thanks, Whitley.
I'll let you pour that first. I mean, that is full.
Yeah.
Oh, my. You can't get that much fuller than that in a can. No. It's literally hanging over the top.
Giving us our money's worth.
And we have a fun night planned for everybody. Letting some people trickle in here, too, a little bit. We want to announce who the guest is.
No, we're going to save that for later. The guest is going to join us at 7 o'clock. So
7 o'clock Central.
That'll also give – we're also trying to give some time if you're if you're coming in from the – yeah, you can just take that one. If you're watching the PBA tournament right now, which you won't be able to hear me if you're watching the PBA tournament, but we're just going to kind of chat some people up until we have our guest. He's going to join right after the PBA tournament's over. So,
any guesses on the chat? We won't tell you if you guess it right, but any guesses on who you think it might be?
Interesting. So I guess I'll set this back here so you can see it. This is a crowler. We got a couple different beers for tonight, so decided to get a crowler. These are their special edition glasses, the Valhalla La. I don't know how well you can see that down there, but these are some themed glasses.
Is this the one that I've never had, or is this the Striking Viking?
No, this is the Striking Viking.
Okay, good stuff.
So the Striking Viking, if you missed our stream from Norseman on Saturday, is my brother's brewing company, Norseman Brewing Company, batch number 300. So he wanted to do something kind of bowling themed and related to that. So
yes, we know we looked really pale that day too.
Yeah.
We were sitting, so there was a big giant window in front of us.
Yeah.
So
anyway, this is a black cream ale aged on vanilla beans. He made it with a dark malt. So that's what gives it its color, but it's not heavy at all. I mean, Kurt Fried liked it.
Yeah.
And they're used to regular beer.
They're like Bud Light type people.
Yeah. Just Bud Light, Miller Light, whatever else. But this is accessible enough to people that don't drink craft beer because it's not overwhelming. It's got a little bit more flavor, but it's not heavy. It's not chalky. You don't have to chew at anything.
That's the one thing that surprised me. And I talked about that during the stream at Norseman was It's a dark beer. You look at it, and you think you're gonna have to eat it just to
Yeah.
get it down. It is very
No,
smooth.
not at all. It's and it kind of tastes with the vanilla beans. It kind of tastes like cream soda a little bit.
Oh, yeah,
so.
100%. We'll get our sponsors out of the way here.
Yeah. All right, let's go on ahead and talk some stuff here to begin with. Let me put this. Actually, let me put
The breakdown pair.
It's over my face, though. We won't do that.
Put it over mine. Can you move it?
No. Unfortunately, no. That's been suggested, though. All right. So, wearing our Cool Wick stuff. Rosedal 10 or Haas 10, 10% off at Cool Wick. This is my blackout design. It's just kind of simple and clean, and I might call it a chalkboard design or something like that because that's kind of what it looks like. So,
chalkboard, yeah. I guess that's true.
Cool Wick. One really cool thing, keep saying that.
Ooh.
The Cool Wick does. Some companies are really particular about their logo. It's like, no, the logo has to be this certain way in this, and they do want it, they do put it on the left sleeve, but they'll make it match the jersey. So if you have like normally their logo is kind of blue, but if you have like a pink and yellow jersey or something that it just doesn't match with,
right, they'll
change the color of their logo. And even like this, they made it the outline instead of the solid one, like is on his. So they gave me this kind of chalk outline here to go with the rest of the jersey. And then, of course, I've got my sRGB BFS and the Bowler's Mart stuff over there. So
yeah, it all flows pretty good. I've got several that, like, if it's a jersey's blue, it'll be white with like blue outlines or whatever.
Yeah, they do some really cool things with their logo to make it match and actually look good on the jersey instead of just here's our advertisement or whatever.
And wow, there it is.
Yeah. So again, anything you buy on coolwick.com, it's Rosedal 10 or Haas 10. You just enter that in at checkout and unlock 10% off of there.
Anything on the website.
Yep. You can also find us at The Breakdown Pair on Facebook. And then we have an Instagram page too, Instagram account, channel, whatever you want to call it, at The Breakdown Pair. And we put all kinds of stuff on there. It's not just bowling and, again, our propaganda and whatever. And I mean, we want to shout out everybody that kind of supports the channel and helps us out and all that good stuff.
Yeah, we just have some fun. That's what we do.
Yeah. Obviously.
Yeah. There's a lot of beer drinking pictures on there. How about that?
Yeah, and if you want to join and talk more bowling more often, we have a Discord server at Storm Nation. That link is in the description, along with the link to our Facebook group and to our Instagram account. All those links are in the description below, so you don't even have to go search. You just go into the description below and click that. They'll pull that right up. Patreon, if you're interested. If not, don't care. It's one of those additional things. We have a members only side of Discord where we have like 15 channels and there's all kinds of stuff over there. So, and that'll get onto my Patreon. It'll get you in those members only channels. And again, it's there if you want it. And if you don't, if you just want to watch the YouTube channel, cool. I don't.
We talk bowling all day. Come and hang out with us.
Kelly Binkley's watching, your teammate on Tuesday night.
Shirts look great.
Shirts look great. They do look great. And I put in a bunch because I bought some and then I've kind of been slow on. I'm not very creative. That's kind of why I wanted to start doing the Cool Wick Cool Pick of the Week.
Yep.
Just to look at some different jerseys. And they have a bunch of good looking stock designs. And so I ordered 4 stock designs today, plus one of the new Black Label collection.
Yep.
It was just kind of gray, white, black, whatever. Now they have some kind of teal turquoise looking ones.
Saw that. They're pretty cool.
That's one that I my pick this week. That just came out. That design just came out a couple days ago, I think, with the 900 Global collection as well. So we also Storm has their Black Label collection. Roto just announced their All-Star. I think it's their All-Star collection, but it's
All-Star. Yep.
Yeah, so that they announced that last week, and then the 900 Global collection, which just went live a day or two ago.
And the global ones look pretty slick.
Yeah. Everything looks really good. So if you're interested in any of that stuff, and not every jersey has to be like loud and bold and crazy and whatever else. So.
And unfortunately, Jesper won.
Oh, Jesper just clinched it.
I don't think anybody was beating him.
No, I mean he led it the whole time, and it was kind of unfortunate that EJ didn't finish it the other day too. Simo bowled. He recovered, bowled a great game, and sometimes that top seed just doesn't quite have it. But Jesper was in the lead the whole week, and everybody else was just not quite. Him and Pga were just, even all through qualifying, they were kind of just neck and neck, and Jesper kind of had this little bit of an edge. So,
yeah, he just struck for days.
Sorry for the spoilers there.
Yeah, I mean, you got to go back and watch it on
Whatever.
Flow. Flow really drove me nuts today.
248, 216. So, it really wasn't. It really was. I mean, it might have been closer. We'll get to watch it later.
I honestly didn't get to watch it live because.
And see, here's the thing. Did Packy's shirt come untucked? Because if his shirt did not come untucked, that's probably the reason why. Yeah. Because as soon as Packy untucks his shirt and gets really loose and kind of lanky or whatever, that's when he starts feeling it. But
he's already lanky as it is. Mm-hmm. Tall, skinny guys.
But yeah, that's kind of unfortunate. It would have been nice to see him win, but just getting on TV and getting a couple games under his belt and getting a couple wins against some really good bowlers that also bowled good this week. So
the left looked pretty good this week. So
yeah. After I was talking to Spencer Robarge a little bit about the U.S. Open, he's like, "Yeah, Wesley was the only one that really had any kind of anything." And then this week, all of a sudden, bam! All the lefties were striking. It was I think the big difference is it was scoreable, but it was when the left side doesn't break down on a scoreable pattern. Transition's just going to catch up with the lefties enough to throw you off a couple frames a game. And if all the lefties have to do is just make good shots and they got room to work with, I mean, it's game over, honestly. So
I didn't get to watch any of the U.S. Open show because I was in Hayes all day. But
no, the U.S. Open show was good. It was very, very interesting. And we can have you gone back and gotten to watch any of that?
I have not, but we can still talk about it. I know what happens.
It was very interesting, and there's a lot of people that will say, well, why did Belmo, he shot a couple good games with that pitch black, and then he switched off to something else and threw resin, missed the head pin 4 times, I think, in that game.
Twice to the right, correct?
All 4 times to the right.
I saw 2 of them live.
Just flat out sent
match play.
But the lanes sucked. And Simonson was just as lost. He made a blind guess in the 9th frame. I mean, it was pretty well dead even. Yep. He made a blind guess in the 9th frame, and just to see what he had, and then he struck out to force Belmo to strike, and he didn't. Belmo could have struck out to win by 1 because they were neck and neck in the 8th frame, I think, or the 9th frame, and Simon got up there and struck out with a different ball to win 180 to 168 or something like that.
He got into a reality, didn't he?
Yeah, he got into a reality, something that blended the lane a little bit better front to back, which is interesting because they bounced back and forth between Belmo threw urethane for a couple games, and then they both threw the Wolverine, I think, and it was just too quick. It was a little too clean down the lane, and they were messing with urethane, both track friction and carry down, because Belmo was swinging a pitch black. He was playing 3rd arrow with a pitch black.
Interesting.
So he was playing a little bit of offense and defense at the same time. So he was trying to chew up the fronts and push the oil down to mess with everybody else. But he kind of got himself in the end, and people will say, well, why did he, he was shooting big with urethane. Why did he get off of it? Well, they're the best bowlers in the world.
Yeah.
He must have saw something that spooked him. And by the time he figured out, okay, well, this isn't that great of an idea, you're done. In a 1-game match, sometimes you just can't figure stuff out.
100%. Yeah. I mean, because you just don't have time to make adjustments.
Yeah. And if the lanes are different, which they were, you only get 5 shots on one lane and 7 potential shots. If you strike out in the 10th, you get 5 shots on one lane, 7 shots on another. And if you lose that one lane, if it takes you 2-3 shots to get lined up on that one lane, you're in the 7th or 8th, you're in the 7th frame, and the game's over.
And the only way you really have a chance to even make any kind of real adjustments is if your opponent's basically struggling.
Yeah.
So if your opponent's striking, unfortunately you got to ride with what got you there, or think of something real quick on the fly. And if it doesn't work well, then your ship's going to sink.
Yeah. So the funny thing about that too is it's not just that, okay, well, Belmo was throwing a pitch black, and now he's throwing a Wolverine and it looks terrible. Yeah. Why did he get out of the pitch black? Well, both him and Simo were in the Wolverine. So they both saw something. The reps saw something. And it was probably getting to the point where Belmo started so deep with urethane, you can't straighten back out because all of a sudden you get the wiggle.
Yep.
The ball starts up, and then it pushes, and then it wiggles, and so the angles were going to be off.
And they were on pattern 4 for the show, right?
Yeah.
So
They were on
pattern, which was
once they get on
much
pattern
softer.
4, they stick on that for a while. Kendall says, I don't think Belmo going to react with a bad play. I think he went too weak of a ball. I think he should have went to an earlier ball than the Wolverine. And that's a good point because we saw it later with Simo that figured out, okay, well, I need more cover to blend. And he said that in the post-game interview. He said, I need more, I needed something to blend the lane a little bit more front to back.
Right.
So bad decision, whatever else, but Belmo couldn't keep moving left with urethane. I mean, even slow roll, he was throwing a pitch black 16 miles an hour.
Okay.
Looping the entire lane. And once the heads start going, you can't move left with he was already nosebleed with urethane. And so he had to get in and go to something. And so I think that there was enough friction there that they were thinking, okay, well, I want something that will get down the lane. I can, kind of control what it's doing on the back end, but they couldn't. Because Belmo actually kind of cliffed the lanes because all of a sudden you get the ball in, it's still it's a flatter pattern, so it's just going to scream.
Yep.
And then if you get it out, well, then you're getting out to where it's going to hang anyway. Plus, now you've got that urethane carry down, and so that it's kind of a similar thing as what Nationals, when people on that team shot, they kind of get in deep and it's hooking, so I've got to move in. Well, no, there's a crap load of volume. It's really short and it's really flat. And so the movement in the middle is going to fake you out. So you get deep and you get deep and you get deep, and then you go to something shiny and weak. All of a sudden, all that oil, you're putting that right into the middle of your track. And so then you get one a little bit right and it hangs. You get one in and it takes off.
Yeah.
So that's kind of exactly what happened.
And I heard something about that red oil is terrible.
Yeah, I don't know. The red looks really sharp. It looks a whole lot better than the blue oil.
It's really cool looking.
But yeah, I don't know exactly what it does to a lane, and there's no way to really figure it out until you get on a show with it and on a USBC show.
Yep.
The red oil is specifically because the Masters and US Open are USBC events, so they use Kegel machines
and Kegel oil
and red oil. So
Brunswick has the blue, Kegel has the red, but the red looks so cool.
Oh yeah, the red looks really sharp.
And they finally brought back real crowds instead of having the big LED boards behind them. They actually put fans behind them, which is how they should be anyways, in my opinion. It's more people the better, more crowds into it, et cetera, et cetera. But anyway, we've got a busy weekend coming up ourselves.
Yeah, we're going to be Kansas City Tournaments is hosting a kind of a Super Bowl weekend. We'll have a singles event in Belton, Missouri on Saturday, and then we've got a doubles event, Super Bowl doubles at Lunar Bowl in Blue Springs, Missouri.
Which is a place we haven't been to in a while.
Yeah, we haven't been there in a while. I have a love-hate relationship with Lunar. I don't really – Trevor scores well there all the time, and I kind of score well there sometimes. And most of the time I throw it fairly good, but it's really weird because it's dry and it's smooth. I heard that they have changed the shot somewhat. So apparently there's a lot more oil than there used to be. But yeah, the ball would kind of hook early and then just kind of ease in. And so I could get in a little bit and slow roll it. My parallax, actually, that's the only place I can throw my parallax, and it works amazing there because I can just kind of let it walk out there and it just kind of gradually works its way back in. But
yeah, it's because the last time I bowled there was the Super Bowl doubles last year, and they just absolutely hooked from the start. I can't tell you I've ever been that far left to start a block than that was that day.
Yeah.
But
so we were going to talk a little bit about tournaments. We do have this is tournament time. Nationals is going to start up here in about a month. A lot of people have state tournaments, city tournaments, whatever coming up, or that they're starting or in the middle of, or whatever else. There's a Bruce Thumman sighting. Heck, and parallax. He threw his parallax last night.
Yep. Yeah, it's just getting hot and heavy in the middle of tournaments, especially state tournaments are big right now.
Toot my own horn here for a second. I had a pretty good night last night. It's just been a bad year, really, for both of us. This season of bowling has just been, we've had a couple bright spots. You shot a couple 300s earlier, and
a couple weeks span,
yeah. And then you did really well. You had that big single set in Tulsa that could have been 800.
Should have been. Made some monies.
Would you finish 15th? You get something like that?
15th out of however many.
Yeah, there's a lot.
A lot.
I mean, there's several weekends of this tournament, so 15th out of probably 1,000 or
even the Tour KC tournaments. I've just had a rough year.
People or whatever. So yeah, we've had a couple bright spots. I shot 300 earlier in the year.
Yep. And I turned around and did it the next week.
Yeah, and I've had a 740 or a 750 or something like that, but nothing really good. And I finally kind of got some stuff figured out with my mechanics. I figured out what the problem. I kept chasing it around, and I figured out what the problem was. And then it took a couple weeks to get the feel right, and I kind of got it back Friday, but I didn't really score that well. And last night, everything was just perfect.
Yeah. I had a good showing in Hayes last weekend too, so it's always a plus. Mm-hmm. It's always good when something positive comes around, and hopefully we can build off of it.
So yeah, I shot
both of us.
Yeah. 791 last night with the RSTX2. I had the front 9 the last game, and I needed the first hit in the 10th to get 800.
And I thought you had it too.
I did too, because the last 3 times I've gotten up in the 10th, it's always been I need the first ball in the 10th. Every single time that I've had a shot at 800, and I've tugged the crap out of it. Arrow and a half, whatever else. It's just been bad. And this time I let it go, and I'm like, that is exactly what I wanted to do. Yeah, I threw it just a little bit too well. It's the only 7-pin I left all night. Yeah,
I swore that ball was
going to go. I picked it up though, instead of just okay, well, striking all night, and then I did that when I shot. I could have had a 279 triplicate a few years ago.
Yeah.
And I just didn't shoot at anything. I had a couple 4-pins up to the 9th frame in the last game. I left a 10-pin and flagged it because I hadn't shot a 10-pin since practice.
I think the greatest thing ever would have been you getting your first lefty 800 at Gage.
Oh, yeah, that would have been perfect too. I thought I had it because I had that. The left was definitely walled last night, and the right side sucked.
Yeah, it was not fun.
Tyler and Jerry Gentry were laying it down, or they were crossing like 20 at the arrows and getting out to like 13. They were like shimming because if they got it out, it stopped and turned sideways, and if they got it in, it just kind of spun and
That's the exact same thing I had.
Yeah, so the left was walled last night, but I threw it really, really good. There was a bunch of them that I just kind of let go of, and it's like, yeah, we're just going to turn around because that's nuts.
Yeah.
I've had some discussions about stuff. So if you ask me questions, I can answer some certain questions about some stuff. But the gym is still, it doesn't come out, it's literally a month away. It comes out on March 11th. And my review will be up next Friday. I've got my review ready to go, but I haven't gotten a whole lot of time to throw it yet either. And so I've got initial impressions, but yeah, Shannon's still waiting for the gym to hook. Yeah.
You're still trying to digest everything.
I'll tell you this, wait for my review. Whatever happened on that gym 4 styles or 4 ways or whatever the heck that was that they put up, the ball does not react like that out in the wild.
Out in the wild.
So next Friday, this Friday, I'm going to have a phase 4 comparison stream because the phase 4 comes out on Friday. So we'll talk about, we have that to talk about. So we're going to talk about that. And if you saw my interactive comparison the other day, that's how it's going to be. But I'm going to do kind of a request thing. So I'm going to prep some stuff up. I'm going to have a few certain things that people are going to want to see, want to talk about. And so I'll have that video ready to go. But Friday, I don't know what time I'm going to do it yet. Probably in the afternoon sometime, 1-2 o'clock Central. But I'm going to stream for a little while. And if you want to see a comparison to something, say, hey, I want to see this compared to the Idle Pearl. I've got some old Idle Pearl footage that I can pull and we can talk about it. And so this is going to be really cool doing this on doing this with this software.
Yeah.
I can sit there and have time. I can rewind, fast forward. I can pull whatever clip instead of dragging a bunch of balls to the bowling alley and throwing one shot every minute and a half and having to stand there and talk to you. I can show several shots after several shots. I can pull 20 different balls if we want to pull that and talk about that and whatever else. So this is going to be really cool.
I think we also tonight, didn't we want to talk a little bit too after our guest, a little bit about actual tournament play? Prepping for tournament play, side action.
Yeah, we're gonna have our guest on here in a few minutes.
Got about 4 minutes.
Yeah, we're gonna have our guest on here about 7 o'clock, and we're gonna talk to them for about a half an hour, and then after that, we'll talk some tournament stuff.
Yeah.
Because once again, like I said, tournaments are getting started, and people have had questions about how do you prepare for tournaments, and what the different kinds of tournaments, and what kinds of options do they have at tournaments. I bet that you've gone to tournaments and not even known some of the side action, kind of the special events, and all the extra stuff that they run at some of them.
Or you make the real money. Real money's in the side action. So that's kind of like this past weekend. We made good money. We made money in the tournament, but we made even better money in the Calcutta.
Mm-hmm.
And we talked a little bit in our last show about Calcuttas and how that works and things like that. But we can break that down again if there's anybody new watching. So
yeah, lots of people actually go to the tournament bowlers
just for the Calcutta.
Just for the side action.
Yeah, or
like
that
if
too.
You happen to win the tournament or place well, cool. You've really got to win the tournament to really make a whole lot of money. But the money to be made is in all the side action, the side events, side pots, eliminators. Again, or if they have a Calcutta, that's nuts.
That's the big thing too. Is you go into these tournaments and you just do an entry, you're really kind of handcuffing yourself. I get it, money strapped, and you just want to bowl, but you give yourself way more chance to make money by getting into some kind of side action, whether it just be an eliminator or you get in a few brackets or whatever. Does that make sense? So we can talk about that after we're done with our guests. So really excited about this one.
Yeah, we'll pull the guest in here and pull him in at 7 o'clock. So you can make more money in brackets than winning the tournament at times. Yeah, that's definitely true.
Kind of like what we did with the eliminator and the girls cashed.
Yeah, I know.
Amanda and Angel bowled doubles for one of the Tour Kansas Cities, and they actually cashed. And you and I just took second or won the eliminator or something. Yeah, and we made more money than they did cashing.
But that's how it goes. I actually made quite a bit of money last night, and
I bet you did.
Action. I just got in the eliminator in the high game pots, and I walked out of there with an extra $100.
Yeah, I've actually swept all that before too, and it was definitely a profitable night.
Boy, if I'd hit the all-in button, I'd have been.
Yeah, it's not much to play all in either in that.
No, it's $60, but and they don't. Yeah, $60 because they only put you in a certain amount of brackets, so it's not like you have unlimited all kinds of stuff. It's just kind of like, okay, we'll put your, here, just this is what it is for this. Just put you in it, something manageable again, because a lot of people don't want to bankroll. They don't want to mess with $100, $150, and they're more apt to not get in.
Correct.
Than if you just see, oh well, we're limiting it to this, and so a little side action on league night.
Why not?
Which is perfect. So.
Gives you something to actually bowl competitively for, other than just 3 games of league, because we all know 3 games of league gets boring at times. So.
Yeah. All right. So 7 o'clock, I'm going to go on ahead and bring our guest in here. Let me go on ahead and click it on here. I will pull him in. His name is Mr. David Waswo, the former host of the Bowlers Show. And he also runs the Kansas City tournaments that we're always talking about going to. So this is the guy. This is 1/3, I guess. Yeah. 1/4.
Close it up.
With his wife Kim and daughter Gabby, and then Mike Adamski, who is the guy that always makes the tournament start late and who picks the patterns that everybody hates that are between 38 and 42 feet.
Yeah, that's Trevor and Dylan now. They make everybody late. He'll agree with me.
Yeah. So, all right, Mr. Waswo, how we doing, sir?
All right, we're doing great. A little issue with the lighting here down in the basement here, but that's the way it goes here. Me and technology.
Yeah,
is a great mix. We'll kind of hold off on the official announcement for a little bit, but we'll just talk about the Bowler Show that we used to do, that I used to do. It was on the radio, and then it was on the internet, and it was a lot of fun to do. It just kind of got stagnant after a while. Kept having the same guests, and really, PBA Tour, it wasn't matching up real good with Sunday nights. So in 2017, we just decided it was time to take a break. We had a little falling out with the radio station where we were actually just doing basically on a stream for the last year or so of the show. So the show went away in 2017. I always kind of knew that I might want to bring it back at some point. It just logistically, it's kind of tricky because, as you said, I'm doing the tournaments with Mike Adamski, and it sounds like, at the time it was going to be a little bit of a problem between doing the tournaments on Sunday and then also trying to do the bowler show, which at that time was 5 to 7 and it was in the Northland. So it was really tricky to kind of keep doing it for that reason also. But we're still doing the tournaments with Mike Adamski, the Kansas City tournaments, and on Sunday, but we're going to find a way to make time on Sunday nights. And I guess we might as well just go ahead and say it, because I posted it here on Facebook and a couple of groups and a couple of pages. I am going to be bringing back the bowler show, and this time it's going to be live. It's going to be on YouTube, and I'll hold back the last part of the surprise here on that for just a little bit. We're going to be doing it the same way we did before, where it's driven by guests. Now, there's a lot of podcasts out there, and they do a great job. And what they do with giving bowlers venues to talk about their achievements and stuff is great. And just talking basically about what's going on in the bowling world, as we've seen here recently, there's been a lot of news, and that also kind of prompted me wanting to bring back the bowler show so we can bring these people on, give them a venue to talk about what's going on. So I like the format of the bowler show where it ended up, on Sunday nights. And a lot of times after the PBA events, we get the winter show. Whatever happened that week, we could set it up to where those people would come on. We'd interview 4 to 6 people and talk about, stuff that was pertinent in the bowling world at the time. So, like I said, the podcasts are great. Everybody doing those are great. What you guys do, just talking bowling. Obviously, you guys get 70, 80, 90 people watching on a Wednesday night. That's awesome. So, with that, I like our format. I love what we're going to be able to do. I'm going to be doing this on the YouTube channel and doing it live with cameras. So my face for radio, that's gonna end. We're gonna have to a little bit. That joke won't fly anymore. I'm gonna have to clean up my act a little bit. But basically 6 to 8 p.m. on Sunday nights on the Luke Rosedahl channel on YouTube. I said that right. Working on that. I've called him Rosdahl for years.
Close enough.
And since Luke is going to be co-hosting the show, let's go ahead and let that cat out of the bag. Luke is going to be co-hosting with me. I prefer to get his name right most of the time. So Luke and I have been talking about this for a while. We've decided to go ahead and go through with it. There's a lot of logistical stuff that we had to make sure we could do between the technical stuff, between the tournaments, between our own bowling, between a lot of stuff. It looks like there may be 1 or 2 weeks during the year where we won't be able to be on. We'll tape a show, we'll put on an old show, we'll do whatever. But for now, the bowler show is coming back, and Luke is going to be co-hosting with me. We'll have a lot of exciting news. We'll put it on the bowler show Facebook page, what we're doing each week, who we're interviewing, all that kind of stuff. And I'm excited about it. I know Luke didn't do really the radio show before, but with him doing this on the YouTube channel, there's a lot of exciting things that we can do with guests now, with bringing their faces on. That's the first thing that obviously we didn't do with radio, but then also being able to bring in clips of situations, we'll just say that may have happened on the TV show that week, or a past achievement. Hey, you remember back when you won this tournament, and play that for the guests. There's just a lot of exciting things we can do. We're really excited. We've got sponsors on board that we've had, following us through all of our other bowling endeavors. So, of course, Luke and I, first and foremost, are with Storm. That is our bowling brand equipment that we use and we promote. And I know most all of you, if not all of you, have seen Luke's reviews. He tells it like it is on those. I've always liked the way he's done it. He doesn't just come out and say, "Hey, this ball goes long and hits hard. You got to go buy a dozen of them." He doesn't do it that way. And he does comparison videos and lets you know what he likes, what he doesn't necessarily like. And he's got Angel throwing the ball, himself throwing the ball, and I'm just excited to have the show back, Luke. I think you're going to really enjoy this format. I know you've done the bowling videos. You're doing the show with John, and I think once you get into some of the things that you're going to be able to do with the video, with interviewing people, I'm sure there's questions you're going to want to be asking them, and As most people know, I am not the most technical guy when it comes to the equipment, so I will be deferring to you on that, of course. So I've talked to you for a little bit, so I want to get your views on what you think the direction of the show is going to be and how excited you are to have this opportunity to do the show.
Yeah, I think this is great because I've tried to do. I used to have a little kind of video series called 30 Clean that didn't last very long. I just was gonna talk to some pros for 30 minutes and just something kind of short and sweet, not draw it out, which is basically about 15, 20, 30 minutes is about the length of most interviews anyway. But I am unfortunately very starstruck, and so those videos were kind of a catastrophe. I remember I kind of survived the one with Verity. The one with Sean Rash was awful, and he was great, by the way. They were all great. And then Tish Johnson was a lot of fun. But being that I'm familiar with the YouTube thing, it's going to be an adjustment for you, obviously, it's going to be an adjustment for you for doing live and camera and whatever else versus radio. There's a lot of things that you can kind of do behind the scenes when you're not like on camera. But I'm familiar enough with this from this side that I think it's going to be a really good match. So I can cover all the tech stuff and the YouTube side, and you can take the lead. I mean, it's your show, and so you can take you've done this for years. And for those of you that may not be familiar with the Bowler Show, he had everybody on. I mean, all the pros, any kind of a name in bowling, he had them on the show. So this is not going to be something like even what we do where we just kind of talk with just a couple of us talking bowling. No, we're going to get, if like Simon, if we would have had the show going already, Simon wins the U.S. Open, we have him on after he wins the U.S. Open to talk to him.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Have Belmo on or Sean Rash after after what he said a couple weeks ago. We, if he, would agree to come on the show, have him right on the show and let him speak his mind, talk about, set the record straight.
Yeah.
Because that's another thing is let them talk about what's going on, tell us some of the behind the scenes things. So it's going to be a bunch of big names, and I'm excited about it to kind of be fly on the wall clicking on my computer while Dave kind of takes the lead on that. But again, like I said, it's going to be a different experience for Dave being on the whole YouTube thing and the live thing. And so I think it's going to be a really good match. I think with what we each kind of bring to the table, I think it's going to be great. And I'm really excited because I'd love to talk to all these pros, and it's going to get me out of my element or my comfort level a little bit. But I'm a whole lot better with that now. I think the first time I met Verity was a tragedy. I'm a big fan of the PWBA and Verity anyway. But it was just awful. But then after I did the few episodes of the show, I met somebody that was a fan of, my videos, my show, or whatever else. And they were so nervous that it was just crazy awkward. And it kind of gave me that realization of like, oh man, that's me with them and everybody else. And everybody that I talked to has been really cool. It's not like you think about, talking to a celebrity or somebody famous or whatever else, and they're just too good for you or don't have the time for you. Everybody's been really cool. So there's no reason to be nervous or stuttery or jittery or whatever else. And that's going to be a little bit of adjustment for me. But, again, Dave can kind of take the lead on that. He's got the experience and talked to a bunch of them before. I mean, it's going to be easy to get guests and say, hey, I'm, send something to Belmo and say, hey, I'm, the show's coming back. Do you want to be on? It's like, oh yeah, hi Dave. We'll set it right up and we'll get it done. So
it's pretty awesome. I'm excited for you guys. I'm excited to watch it. I can tell you that.
Yeah, actually, it's funny you're talking about the off. I'm used to asking the bowler the question and then preparing for the next question off screen because it wasn't even on screen to start with. So I'm used to grabbing a drink, writing stuff down, doing what I want to do on screen. We won't even talk about that. But let's talk a little bit about some of the things you talked about as far as when you're talking with bowlers. They're just as nervous as you are sometimes. When you're talking to somebody who's big in the bowling world, they understand. Hey, we're talking. People are going to listen to this, and what I say is going to be going to be for real. And it's going to be on there, for other people to hear and either critique or whatever. So they do a great job of that. Our job, and something I really, to be honest, wasn't great with. I'd start to ask a question, and I wouldn't answer the question. I just kind of went too far. People want to listen to want to listen to your ride. We'll ask the question, and then we'll try to get away. But I've been lucky. I bowled on tour from 1987 to 1989, and then another short stint in 1999. So I've got a lot of contacts with the bowlers. That I've been very lucky with, and bowled a couple of senior tournaments where I've contacted back with the guys who were beating me in the 80s that were still beating me in the 2010s. So Parker Bones, the Walter Rays, Norm Dukes, and everybody I got a chance to talk with. So I've been lucky that way, and really the bowler show came back at a time when the PWBA the next year was coming back. So I was real excited about that also. The gals that come on, we get just as many of them, especially when the PWBA tour is bowling at the time. And we really like to promote that, especially when they first came back. I thought that was something, the bowling world really needed, and I was glad I had the bowler show at that time. So
oh yeah, for sure.
It just gives the bowlers a venue to talk about their achievements and talk about, like you said, things that happen in the bowling world. And so many people with this last situation were coming up with their own ideas of what was said, what was meant, and hey, we've got Sunday night, we can have him on, have whoever on in the bowling world that's talking about stuff. And you and I are going to have a venue to where, being on YouTube, they can say pretty much whatever they want. It's not like it's going to be on the radio, so whatever they want to say, they can. And I think you're going to realize early on that 2 hours is nothing. And I know you're used to doing these shows an hour and a half, 2 hours, but once you're interviewing guests, and when I was on the radio, hey, at 6:18, we had to get off. The interview. We had to get in three minutes of commercials, so you had to leave a couple of minutes on each side of your 20-minute segment to do that. That's something you and I won't be forced to do. Of course, we're going to have some commercials on there in different ways, of course. But we may have some video commercials too. We'll see that. Anybody that wants to support the show that decides they want to do some commercials, they can contact us. We can do just about anything. Luke is a wizard with that stuff. You've seen his videos and how he spliced all of his bad shots out of the videos. So that takes a lot of work.
And here come the jabs already.
A lot of work. But hey, you did mention earlier too that we will be the only show on the air where both of the hosts have honor scores with both hands. Mr. Waswo is also an ambidextrous bowler. He has several more honor scores left-handed than I have. I need a little bit more time to catch up.
I have several more years on purpose. That's So I've been lucky, just like Luke. Unlucky in some ways because both of them were injury related, and I know, in my case especially, every 3 or 4 years, I started bowling left-handed, and I started getting better at it. And next thing you know, I was bowling just as well. It's kind of an anomaly, Luke, that we are doing this together, and we have knowledge from both sides of the lane. And when people talk about the lefties have this and the righties don't have this and whatever, kind of like you were talking about earlier about league night, I think, if anybody can talk about that stuff, we can. We're not just on one side whining about the other. Lefties on house, righties on sport. We've experienced both sides, and pretty much can talk about those without any kind of bias to, hey, we're a right-hander, we hate left-handers, or we hate two-handers, or whatever. So I think that's something we can talk about. And I do like I said, the things that we can do with this is I'm real excited about. Just watching the chat here. One thing that we didn't even have that before. I see people talking a little bit about Gabby and some of the guests that they want to get on, and that's great to have that stuff on. And you've got capability bringing those up. I believe even putting them on the screen. You've got my name and the bowler show. You'll have obviously your name in there also. There's so many things we can do with this to make it look good. Like I said, my motto is it's going to be professional. We're going to bring on the best bowlers in the world and having them on. But you and I are going to have a lot of fun. And we're going to mess with bowlers too, just like we do.
Yeah.
City tournaments. We're going to have fun. We're going to be serious, but we're also going to have a lot of fun.
Yeah, and we're not going to. I mean, we're not going to pull any. We're not going to pull any punches either. You know, the thing that happened with Sean Rash a couple weeks ago. You know, you spoke about when they had the bottle incident. You know, however long ago that's been. It's kind of like, well, if something's happening, or if something's going on, it's going on. I mean, you don't have to.
Yeah.
People know, and if you're not genuine with it, people are going to not be interested. If you're trying to sugarcoat it or downplay it or whatever else, it happened. Let's talk about it, and let each bowler share their side of the story.
Yeah.
And so that everybody kind of understands. I mean, that's what they did. Beef and Barnsey on their show, they kind of they had some background information. They had, okay, so this is actually what Sean was talking about.
Yeah, because nobody knew at that time until Beef and Barnsey came out and said what they said. That kind of everybody was like, oh, okay, well, this is really what's going on.
Yeah, and so that's the whole point is it's gonna be, like you said, it's gonna be very guest driven. It's not gonna be, well, we're going to talk about stuff, and if we can book a guest, we're going to have them. No, it's guest driven.
Yeah.
Again, when the bowler show was on the radio, it was, you know, booking guests and us kind of, you know, asking a few questions, but letting them talk, giving them a platform to do some things. So we're going to be almost more in the background than anything, just kind of producing the show. They're going to be the stars of the show.
No, I think this platform for the bowler show, you guys, I think it's absolutely amazing. The things you're going to be able to do, people are going to draw to it. It's pretty awesome. I'm excited.
Well, that's good to hear. I hope a lot of bowlers that listened to the show before are going to be excited too. And you know, just talking about Sean and Jason Belmonte, I had both of them on the show multiple times, and as I said, you know, when they had their issues for a while, we brought those up. We didn't try to shy away from them. Now we're not going to downgrade bowlers or, you know, anything like that. We're going to talk about situations that happened. And, you know, it turned into kind of a fun thing with both of them. The last question I asked them every night that they were on the show, each one of them, I would say, hey, how are you and Jason doing right now? Or how are you and Sean right now? And both of them had basically the same answer. They were fine. There was more, I wouldn't say animosity, but division on them, you know, on TV than what was actually in real life. They both kind of answered the same way. They said, hey, we're fine when we're bowling. We're fine, you know, just off the lanes, but we're probably not going out to dinner. So that became something that we did every time that they were on the show. And it just shows, you know, we're going to talk about that stuff. That's kind of what the show's about. And if there's, you know, hey, if, you know, urethane, the Purple Hammer, the Sean Rash, those situations, we're going to talk about what's our brand, somebody else's brand. If it's something in the bowling world that's pertinent, that's the whole idea of the show. And being live every week, and Kelly Binkley is asking when it's going to be on. We're going to start March 6th. I don't know if I announced that before. I don't believe I did.
No.
March 6th, 6 to 8 p.m. Central every night. And Luke, tell them how to listen in. They just type your name into YouTube or?
Yeah, so the cool thing is that we're going to do it on my channel. So for those of you that are watching right now, you don't have to go search for another channel, subscribe to it or anything. We're going to have it on my channel. But Dave's going to bring a bunch of viewers from, I mean, you've got a bunch of people that follow you on the Facebook group. You can follow us on the Facebook group at The Bowler Show. If you want to see the updates, and as we book guests, he'll put little blurbs in there. It's like, hey, you know, we've got Bill O'Neill for the show coming up this week, and so it's going to be something that we've already kind of have established, and we're just going to kind of mesh them together. Yeah. So it makes it easier from both ends. He's going to bring a bunch of the former viewers, the fans of that show, and then we can introduce my fans to something. If you don't remember, didn't listen to the Bowler Show, that'll introduce you to something new. And So I think it's gonna work out great, and I will schedule things just like I scheduled this show. So I'm gonna schedule it the bowler show for Sunday. I'll have everything up on Saturday with the guest list and whatever else, so you'll know what's going on. And again, it's going to be 6 to 8 every Sunday. We might have some, we have tournaments and other things going on, but we're going to give it our best shot to be there every single Sunday with anybody that you could think of, whatever else. If they're famous, you watch them on TV, we're going to have them on. So.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
And just watching these comments on the screen here, which is pretty cool to start with, just from what I did before. It's fun to look at those, and we're going to interact with some of those comments during the show, just not quite as often as maybe other shows. We're going to, it's like you said, it's going to be guest driven. And if somebody has a really pertinent question and we're kind of out of questions, then we're going to go into the chat and try to interact a little bit with some of the people in the chat. But mostly it will be Luke and I talking to the guests, and as I said, 15 minutes, 20 minutes goes like that. You're gonna be amazed if you're talking to a guy and then I'm sending you a note, hey, we're gonna cut this off because we've got 4 more guests to get on the show in the next. And we really don't. It's not like we have to be off the air at 8 o'clock necessarily, exactly, because we're not on the radio, and that's something I had to do before. We had to be off because there was other shows coming on.
Right.
Yeah.
Leeway with that. We got some leeway with other guests. Like I said, I had Carmen Salvino on the show. I let him stay on for an hour. He could have been on for the whole 2 hours just as easy. We've got a lot of leeway to do some things like that. And at the 8 o'clock thing, there's times we might go over if something's going on real good with that. Just a couple of other things on that March 6th date. We're going to have some of our guests that were on the show a lot before. I've already booked a couple of them. Matt Cannizzaro, of course, had his own segment for 3 years on the show called Cannizzaro's Corner. So I wanted to talk about that real quick for a second. He adds a lot to the show. He is at the Open Championships venue every year. Most of all of you guys know him. And he's going to be giving us an update on what's going on each week. Looks to be at 6:40 Central. We'll have him on. And he's going to talk about everything that's going on with the Open Championships. Who took the lead, who shot 300, who broke the 100,000 pin barrier. He's been really valuable for the show, and some of you know I worked with him for a month last year and somehow survived. So he gave me a better appreciation of the time that he really doesn't have that he gave to the show, and I did want to give him a shout out because he's always been really good for us. Never asked for anything. Maybe once or twice I had to cut his interview off because somebody at the front nine or somebody, he had something go on, he couldn't be on, but it was always accessible and always great. He's agreed to come back on. So that first show, we'll have him on, and we'll probably have him on the rest of the time from 6:40 segment, and we'll talk about Open Championships, which starts in mid-March, and of course with the COVID stuff, and then now we're back to one venue. There's going to be all kinds of stuff to talk about that. But we'll be bringing on a lot of other people, a couple of people who've been integral to the show. Mark London, who towards the end of the show, the last round in 2017, was on pretty much every week for the last segment and helped out with that. So we'll have Mark here and there when he can, and we'll talk a little bit about what he does. He's a writer for the Bowling News, so we'll talk about some stuff with him. Craig Elliott has also expressed interest with helping out with the show. You guys know him from Pga Extra Frame, and he's with MichiganBowler.tv and then with the Bowl Stream TV, and has sold that. I believe to Neil Williams, but either way, we'll get Craig on the show lunch, and just some of our regulars that we had on before. A lot of guys at Storm have always been accessible. Steve Klimkin, invaluable to the show, one of the smartest guys in bowling, one of the nicest guys in bowling. We'll bring him on a lot. Leanne Barrett, Olsenberg. If they're in Utah, we're going to have them on when they have a chance. The social media director, actually the communications director, Blair Blumenscheid, and she's going to help with guests and whatever else and stuff like that. So I'm excited to talk about our brand. Of course, Luke and I kind of feel the same way about this. We're gonna bring in bowlers from all brands. I never had any problem with that. We're not gonna exclude anybody because of what balls they throw. We know that in the bowling world, everybody's throwing different stuff, and some stuff works better for other people, and it's actually healthy for the bowling industry to have more than one successful company. So, but we, Luke and I really do appreciate what Storm's done for us overall with his videos and with everything that I've done. I've never been told no, basically, to anything for my charity events, for the Kansas City tournaments and stuff. So we want to give shout outs to people that have helped the show and support our bowling, and obviously Storm's at the forefront.
Mm-hmm.
So and we'll talk. We'll have some more. I know Luke has got some sponsors other than me. As you see, John's got the Cool Wick shirt on, and Luke does too. I actually am with Logo Fusion / I Am Bowling right now. So we'll be talking about kind of like I said, we're going to talk about our brands, each of us, a little bit, and everybody will have some time for that. And we have room for more sponsors. Anybody in the bowling world wants any type of commercial. We're not going to be begging for anything. We're not doing this. Believe me, there is no money in this. So
yeah, this is the bowling industry.
This is our own volition, and this is our way of giving back. And in the end, it makes us feel good, and it's good to have for bowlers. I'll be honest. For years, I was a taker in the bowling world. I bowled, I complained. I want this. I should get this because I'm me or whatever. And once I started doing the bowler show and doing some charity events, I realized this is what I should be doing. And when the bowler show went away last year or so, I've been thinking, hey, it's time to bring it back. And then seeing some of the stuff that's happened recently in the bowler world told me, yeah, let's bring this back. Luke has some things that he adds to the show besides right now not being on the radio and not having a radio station or a studio. First thing Luke has, as you guys have seen right behind him there, he has a studio to do this. So, and we're also going to be doing possibly some stuff here in town. We might be doing the show from another venue at Aaron's Family Fun Center in their den. I know you've done some stuff from there. So take a moment and talk about what Aaron's did for you as far as that venue.
Yeah, Aaron's is Mike Soroka and Frank Hall over there take really good care of us. We have the Greater Kansas City Open, which I believe is the 7th year coming up now this year, 7th year, 8th year, or something like that. You guys been doing it?
You got me thinking. I think it's the 8th year.
Okay. So, yeah, they started up the Greater Kansas City Open. We have a lot of people from my community that come from all over the country to bowl this thing, and it continues to get bigger and bigger. And every single year we have a stream from the den at Aaron's. And so if you have ever seen, Mega Stream, Tamer from Tamer Bowling, Tamer Albago was here one year. James Niffen comes from, the K is silent, comes from North Carolina quite a bit. Mike and Dave's tournaments are so good that we have a friend from North Carolina that's been on the show several times, actually flew in often enough last year to make their top 36 points tournament. That's how good these tournaments are.
It is impressive.
And so when we have the Greater Kansas City Open, which is a traditional team double singles tournament, we get a bunch of people in here. They run it for a few weekends, and we always stream from the den at Aaron's. They have a special kind of party event room that has 6 lanes that are kind of sequestered, sectioned off from the rest of the bowling alley.
Very nice too.
And and they take care of us. We have their head mechanic that sits in there while we're doing the stream and while everybody comes out and practices. That is there just for us. They have us in there. Mike Soroka, the GM, just takes care of anything that promotes bowling or is good for bowling. He's all in for. So if they have a lot of tournaments in Belton, and it's a really nice center. They take really good care of it. They care a lot about everything. They're not afraid to put in some work or some elbow grease or whatever else.
Absolutely.
And so if we have one of these things where we have a tournament there on a Sunday, or if we're in Kansas City for a tournament, we're going to go over and stream from the den. So those of you that have seen those streams, we usually it's September. We have them in September. So if you're not familiar with that, you can go back and look at my video log or the live streams or whatever else from.
It's usually around the September 11th time frame.
Yeah, it's usually around September 11th. And so that's where we're going to be at sometimes, because it'll be nice and convenient, and they take ridiculous care. It doesn't even make any sense how good a care they take care of us, or how good a care they give us rather. So we'll be there sometimes, and other times we might even be on the road depending on what's going on. But we should have some different, pretty exciting things every once in a while.
Yeah, Mike does a great job there. I'm not going to lie, a few years ago, before Mike came along, some things we had some issues with the GKCO, and things didn't work out there. That's all been taken care of. They do a great job there, and I talked to Mike today about it, and he was on board right away. Not a lot going on at that time frame for the den on Sunday at 6 to 8, so it looks like the times that we're in town for bowling, that if we want to use the den, it's not going to be any problem at all. You said you've been there and you've done shows, and you've seen, that, hey, it's a great venue. There's a great backdrop. Of course, there's bowling, bowling lanes right behind you. I mean, what better graphic can you get than that other than this wall?
All right.
It's not quite the same. But Luke, going back to the bowler show real quick before I get out of here and let you guys finish your show. I gave some shout outs to bowlers and some guests too. I'd be remiss if I didn't talk for a second about two of the guys who are the big wigs in the bowling world. Chad Murphy came on a couple of times, but Tom Clark, who gets a lot of flack, and when you're a CEO of something like this, you're going to get some flack. That's going to happen. But Tom was always great with me, and Tom actually for a while was actually booking the winner of that tournament back when the PBA was, Sunday at noon every week.
Yeah.
He would tell the guy, hey, you just won. You're going on the bowler show tonight. And if it was possible and they were accessible, they weren't flying or whatever, they came on the show. So every time I've ever asked Tom to come on the show, he's talked frankly about stuff. He's allowed me to ask him. I, wouldn't say, I guess I would say tough questions. There's times where you got to ask, hey, why in the world do this? And talking about sponsors and what was going on with the tour at the time. And Tom was always very very nice to me as far as his time. And I like I said with Matt, I appreciate the time. It's hard for people, 20 minutes out of some people's days really means a lot. So people are going to listen to our show 2 hours. I know that a lot of people aren't going to be able to listen to the whole show, but hey, their buddy's coming on, Packy's coming on, Elmo's coming on, whoever they want to listen to. Hey, they can get in there and listen, get in, get out, or they can listen obviously for the whole show every week. And there's going to be some guys like that, and we're going to really appreciate them. And then we may call them out, of course. Like you said, the chat is a very useful tool. You use a lot on your show, and seeing what people have done, as far as donating and stuff like that. That just shows that they appreciate what you've been doing, and that's a big part of what we're planning on doing. Is not to sound too sanctimonious, but it's what we want to do. It's something we want to do for the bowling world, and it just feels like the podcasts are great. I would never talk anybody's podcast down because what they do helps immensely too. But I like our format. I love that it's on Sunday. And I love the fact that it's going to be live, and we're going to be talking to people that are pertinent in the bowling world. There's going to be some weeks nothing happens, and we're going to bring on Mark London. We're going to bring on guys who always come on. Another guy, Jeff Rickles, always has been. Hey, Jeff, somebody backed out. Can you come on? At this time, we used to have a storm feature segment at 6 o'clock every night on the show, and we may bring that back also. Jeff was always accessible, and Jeff could talk about anything in the bowling world, obviously. And with his blog, hashtag buy the blog. I'm going to give.
.com.
the people who helped the show.
Mm-hmm.
Some of these guys that I've called out were very integral. I'm sorry if I missed anybody, but Matt Cannizzaro and Jeff, Tom Clark, and just some of the bowlers who helped out. I'm looking forward to dealing with them again. It's been 4 years. The time is right. There's all kinds of good stuff going on in the bowling world, and things just kind of fell together here. We're doing this with Luke, a fellow Storm staffer, fellow ambidextrous bowler, the equipment, and that was a big part of this. I didn't just think, hey, I'll just grab Luke and we'll figure this out. I'm like, hey, Luke's got capabilities I don't have in the technological world, and we're going to use that with the set that you see right now, where they're at now, and then of course at Aaron's Family Fun Center. So, Luke, I don't know what you and John have on tap for the show. I don't have a whole lot more to add. I can stay on till 8, or I can clear out.
I got to at least give him a bunny.
This is your
okay.
I know why you were able to survive Cannizzaro for a month. It's because of the hot dog truck.
Probably going to involve a hot dog. Yeah, I knew that was coming.
The hot dog truck.
Now, we could talk about the hot dog for a second. The streak that Matt was talking about really wasn't a streak. We turned it into a streak of visiting the hot dog cart at South Point every day. There were days that Matt worked me so hard that I couldn't eat a hot dog. Didn't have time to do it. Of course, I'm joking. Matt was great. Matt was very professional, but I never felt like I was working. He had a great environment. To be perfectly honest, I didn't get out there till like the day before the tournament started. A couple other people that were helping out, Sam Neves, and actually it was just Sam and I to start. He had been there for a week and been trained properly, so I used Sam and I used Matt, for the first couple of days. But basically, the first day of singles and doubles, Matt's like, good luck, because there was 2 venues this year, as people know.
Yeah.
I wasn't on the side, the team event side, where everything normally is and will be again this year. And it's, you've got giant screens with giant scores. I couldn't see any of the scores. At first, I was panicking. I'm like, I have no idea how I'm going to figure out Joe Smith and Classified has a chance to take the lead. Well, basically, Matt, we took a day, and next thing you know, I'm reporting on the US or the USBC Open Championships from the singles and doubles side, and he just basically say, you got to do this. This is the resources we have. You're going to be over here. I've got to stay over here and take care of things here. So it threw me in, and we got through it the first couple of days, and it was fairly easy after that. But it was a lot of fun. And like I said, I like to give Matt shout outs because we've developed a friendship over the years from afar between the times he was on the show and then this last year where I spent a month with him. And seeing what he does, people know that he works hard, and they have no idea what he really does behind the scenes. And it's not just for 3 or 4 weeks of the Open Championships. I like to kid him like he's a teacher. The other 7-8 months of the year, he doesn't do anything. World, he's in Dubai. He's flying all over the world on my USBC $25 money that we send in. Of course, I like to kid him about that. He is tireless. He comes in at 7 a.m, and at the time last year, Aaron Smith wasn't available. He was doing the women's side. He was doing some other stuff. So it was just Matt as far as somebody who could do stuff that needed to be done and make decisions, stuff like that. So Matt would, I worked nights from 3 to whatever, and there were nights 2 or 3 in the morning. We were still there doing somebody's 300, writing up on whatever, or just finishing up the daily stuff that has to be done. And Matt was there, and he'd be back at 7 in the morning. So he does this for 3 or 4 months with a day off here and there. So I know I'm going on and on about Matt, but he does more than people understand. And there's a lot of people he gets, he's like most of us. He's out there, he's working tirelessly, and it wears on him. And there's times he's thinking, hey, why am I doing all this? And then he'll have a guy come in, 100,000 pin guy, whoever, Art, Lord, whoever, and then they come up and they say, "Oh, Matt, thank you for the award, thank you for the time," and then that makes it all good, and that's kind of the way we look at it. I'm going to look at our shows the same way, when I'm bowling and stuff, I get frustrated or whatever. We've got this to fall back on. So that's kind of where we're at on that. Luke, I don't really have anything else to add to what we're talking about on the show. I think you're going to be pleasantly surprised with the difference in what you're going to be able to do with this, and what I think you're going to do fine with the interview. I have no problem. I think you speak better than I do. I've got enough ums in there for an army when I re-listen to stuff all the time.
He's black clouding himself.
Yeah.
Why am I saying so much? And if this was a high-paying job, I'd figure out a way to get those out of there.
He Mr. Black Cloud himself. Is Black Cloud himself.
Hey, Matt Canzaro is the original Black Cloud.
It's always
when I went out there last year, I to be perfectly honest, first off, the first few 300 chances, I was terrible. Everybody was shooting 300 at the start. And I went to Matt for advice, and he showed me what to do. But
just turn the camera on.
Yeah, we get kidded about that stuff all the time. And obviously, people are going to get more nervous when there's a phone there. That's going to happen. So maybe in some ways we kind of are black clouding people. But Matt's the original. Matt is the guy who comes out when there's front 8 or front 9. He usually takes over.
This guy will shove it right in your face.
Yeah.
He'll shove the camera. Don't get nervous.
Don't get nervous. I did that to Bruce Thoman one time, and he didn't even know he was. We were at one of your tournaments in Belton, and he didn't even know he was shooting 300. We were just kind of cutting up and whatever else, and then I pulled the camera up. He got up for the 10th frame. I pulled the camera out and I said, "Hey, don't get nervous." And he kind of looked up there and was like, "Oh wait." No, he shot 300.
He was my double thunder that day, by the way.
I do.
He black Jesse Bauer the other day.
I see Bruce in the chat, so
yeah. Bruce is in the chat. I try to do that as kind of like a little icebreaker or whatever, and I had a shot at shooting both 300 and 800 last night.
Yeah.
Everybody, don't is like, well, no, I've kind of been here before, but I haven't really. That's kind of an interesting.
First lefty one, I would have been nervous.
Yeah, but.
All right.
Yeah, but for those of you who may not know or remember Matt Canizaro, he was always doing the commentary for the live stream they used to have from Nationals. And so having him on every single week, getting updates and talking about what's going on, scoring pace, whatever else. They don't do the live streams anymore not that Matt has the time to do them anyway. But true. Him giving us updates and talking about stuff, and it is pretty fun when you're at Nationals. I had the front 9 one year, way back when, and you had to see everybody kind of come down to your pair and see the red strikes that started in the 7th frame or whatever. That's pretty fun. But yeah, Matt Canizaro is going to be great to have on. It's a really great resource, and yeah, I'm excited. It's going to be a bunch of fun. I'm going to get to talk to a bunch of people that, for one reason or another, I haven't been able to make it out to tournaments or to whatever else. And I do it's interesting, the people that kind of watch my channel that I see every once in a while. And somebody like AJ Chapman, I run into him at a tournament and he's like, "Hey, I like watching your videos." And I'm like,
"Hi."
Yeah. Do you know who you are? So that's going to be kind of cool. I'm really looking forward to it. I'm pretty excited about it, and I think it's going to be great. And I think we both bring a bunch of stuff to the table and expertise from different sides of things, and so I think it's going to mesh really well. And I'm pretty excited to get started.
The show originally opened some doors that I didn't have before. Through, to be perfectly honest, I didn't have anybody sponsor me. I shot underscores and that, and when I was bowling. But as far as equipment and clothing and stuff like that, I'd never even thought about that. Really, I didn't even get into buying too many balls at the time. But that basically, the show opened up the doors for me to get iron bowling and storing and be able to do some of the stuff. And just like you said, this just random stuff like AJ Chapman just kind of brighten your world. When I was working last year, Anthony Simonson came up to me. I was turned around, and he came up to me and said, "Hey, Waz, how you doing, man? I heard they're working real hard out here. And I turned around and I thought, that is Anthony Simonson, right? I mean, this guy with he's 25 years old. He's got every accolade just about covered now, especially after last week. And it just makes it's not like it's a that we need that or we're looking for that, but it is kind of cool when something like that happens and somebody in the bowling world knows what you do. And even like last year when I was working out there, of course I was working to make a little money, but that's something I wanted to do just to give back to the bowling world and give back to the tournament. And especially, I mean, 1,000%, if Matt Cannizzaro wasn't there, I wouldn't have been doing that last year. I did that to be with Matt, and I knew that at the time with the two venues, they needed double the help that they would normally need. And I knew that it's tough because it's hard to get people. People don't realize when they run that tournament, and people want that tournament in Billings, they want it in Knoxville, and sure, it's great to travel around. I like doing it too. But they have to build the venue. Everything's not there. Now, when they have it in Vegas or Reno, everything's on site. Everything is so much easier for everybody. And what the thing people don't think about is the hundreds of workers that they have working that tournament. Not everybody lives in Las Vegas or in Reno or the hotel. They have to bring those people in, including myself last year. And, you've got to take care of some of the other expenses that those people are going to incur. You're going to get nobody that week. So that's something people don't realize when they're talking about, oh my God, I got to pay an extra $1 for my USB-C card. I didn't get 13 rings this year. I only got one. You'll be okay without all those rings hanging around. When I go out and play golf, if I shoot, not going to, but if I shoot like a 68, the USGA isn't sending me a thing saying, hey, you just shot on your par, congratulations. It's something.
Holy smokes, 68?
Yeah, that's on the front nine probably. Actually, that's what's funny is I actually used to be a really good golfer. That was something I was good at. Also, I was assistant pro, and I thought I was going to be a golfer before bowling. And then,
you probably should have been.
I realized I wasn't good in either one, so I tried with the golf thing. I just wanted to be like a club pro. I knew I wasn't good enough to ever be on tour. I didn't think.
Yeah.
So I went through the Pga Apprentice Program. It's 30. You have to work at a course for 36 months, go through a player's test, a written test. Went through all that, passed all that, and then I realized that probably wasn't the avenue for me. I tried bowling. That was when I was about 21. So, and here we are 35 years ago talking on a computer device about bowling and then what we're doing with the Bowler Show. So I'm trying to scan a little bit of the chat here, Luke, before I go. I don't know if I've missed anything. I've seen here Bruce talking about your black cloud, or he was going to try to get you. So
he was going to try to get down to me last night, but he didn't quite make it in time. So it was kind of cool too, because this comment here that my producer just popped up. Carolyn Doran Ballard is actually my turbo rep, and that's how I got my contract in the first place. The truck forgot to reset the pitches before they shaved off her switch grip thumb. And
Nice.
So I ended up drilling her equipment. This was back when the PWBA started again in 2015, and they had to stop at Topeka.
Yeah.
And so I actually ended up drilling her equipment the entire weekend, and I did a good enough job that, and anybody can tell you, Carolyn's a bulldog.
Yeah.
She is laser focused, and she's so much of a perfectionist. If you're not on her level, she doesn't have time for you. And I was able to be on her level from the drilling side of things that weekend, and so she was pretty happy, and that was kind of a very good experience for me, and just being able to say, Carolyn is my turbo rep is really cool. So
our turbo rep.
Yeah. And I'm sure we'll have her on the show sometime, and she's amazing to talk to. So that's the kind of stuff that I'm excited about. I'm excited to talk to Verity again and not stutter and stumble over myself the whole time. And
I think I'm gonna have to start working on Verity for our first show. It sounds like need to get
Yeah,
her on, put you under the gun right away. But real quick, side note on CDB is my wife actually bowled against her in college.
Oh wow!
Nice.
Put an age on my wife for CDB, but she bowled at West Texas A&M, and my wife Kim bowled at CMSU.
Oh wow! Yeah. Okay.
Or whatever the heck, UCM. I don't even know what they call it.
I don't know what they call it these days. It's got
Still CMSU to me. Luke, you said something about a producer. You want to go ahead and give her a little shout out and talk a little bit. I know John's wanting to kind of help out a little bit behind the scenes too, but who's this producer you're talking about?
Yeah, my wife Angel, who is really good with this kind of stuff anyway. She's kind of monitoring the chat. This will be something that we'll have for the Bowlers show too. So it's not just, well, we're gonna have a show, and we're gonna try to focus on the show, on the guests, have them talking about stuff, but we're gonna have some people helping out, my wife and Jonathan, helping out, answering questions in the chat and giving you information if you want to know when. So if we have Belmo one week and you don't know
what time's he coming on,
and if we have a good question in the chat, then Angel will go on ahead and pop it up, and she's been popping stuff up here so that we can kind of focus on what we're doing, and so we'll be able to both interact with people but still kind of run the show and let the bowlers talk and just kind of supplement what they're talking about rather than kind of go back and forth and
right.
And whatever else.
That's the other cool thing too, is on this platform with the Bowler Show. If somebody, because of course, as you know, not everybody is going to make it 6 to 8 on Sundays. Stuff comes up, family stuff, et cetera, et cetera. But you can go back and watch it.
Yeah, it's going to be archived just like any other live stream, any other video, whatever else. If you can't make it live, I have a lot of people that tell me that the shows like this, that they either drive for a living or they have an office job and they kind of put on podcasts throughout the day.
Like
and so it's something that they can come back to later and catch up on, or maybe they want to watch it a couple times. Maybe something was really interesting for them, and so there's just all kinds of things that are going to be really cool for people. And I'm also looking forward to, I think another one that you need to book is Diana Zavyalova. And yes, I pronounced her name right. But she had something rather interesting when she was a Columbia staffer. She's with the good guys now. But when she was a Columbia staffer, she did a fairly popular video for the spoiler when it came out, and instantly in my head I'm thinking I know exactly how to parody this, because she did kind of a risque take on a woman prepping to go out for the day, and I'm like, well, that just doesn't happen with the guys, and so I've got to show the other side of it. So I put a video together, and naturally I'm not thinking, she saw it in the first 15 minutes after I posted it, and I'm like, holy crap, I just wanted to make something funny, and she actually saw it.
The funniest Rick Rosedal video ever, by the way.
Yeah,
that was good stuff. And John, what can happen with your show there with the breakdown pair too, being midweek, as long as you guys are still doing it at whatever time still, you're going to be able to also cross promote, and we'll do the same thing on our show. Hey, don't forget to watch, this is something Luke can do. You can make just a 15-second blurb that we can play during our commercials. Don't forget to check out John on the breakdown pair on Wednesday nights, also on Luke's channel. And then of course you guys can use your platform on Wednesdays. If we've got, Verity, Diana booked to, for the show or whatever, Luke can stumble through that and try to do the promotion, and John can pick up when needed. So that's something we're going to be able to do besides
virtual high five.
Exactly. And besides the fact, like you said, the show is 6 to 8 Central, but it's because it's being on YouTube. It's going to be, people can watch it whenever, and we'll post it right afterwards. We'll post it on the Bowlers Show Facebook page. Luke and I talk a little bit. We're not going to have a website. There's really no need for that. Everything's on the Facebook page, and everybody knows about the YouTube stuff. So anything we promote will be on that Bowlers Show. a Facebook page. Luke, I've sent you a deal. I don't know if you got that to be an
Yep, I got it. Yep, we're good to go. So
That's the other cool thing about this platform too, though, is through the software that we're going through, you can actually stream not only on YouTube, but you can stream on Facebook at the same time.
yeah, that's another feature of the software. If we can stream to both YouTube and our Facebook and the Bowler Show Facebook page at the same time. So,
yeah, I actually did that. That had just come around at the end of the last Bowler Show, Facebook Live.
Mm-hmm.
And I actually did that a few times. I just kind of went around the studio, showed the board up, it showed a little bit of behind the scenes that people didn't realize, how we were doing the show.
Oh, yeah.
I had a lot of fun with that. James had a lot of memorabilia in his office, so we looked at a lot of stuff like that. But we used that also mainly because we didn't have what you and I are going to have with the video. I'm excited to see what you can do. I know there's like you said, there's a lot of good things that you know what you're doing, and if you don't know, you learn that stuff. And you're gonna be able to put it together some an intro, an outro, blurbs, commercials, all kinds of good stuff that we're going to integrate during the show. Hopefully, I'll have some of the old Bowler Show stuff. I'm talking to my old partner James Coister about that. Hopefully, he can extract that stuff and get it to where it's usable to you. We'll keep working on that. We've got some great sound bites from whoever, Jason Belmonte saying, "Hey, welcome back to the Bowler Show. You're listening to the Bowler Show." Norm Duke had a great one. We just told Norm, "Hey, just wing it. Just say, hey, welcome back,' or no, you're listening to the Bowler Show." And Norm got on there and he said, "All right, guys, you're listening to the Bowler Show. This is Norm Duke. And I guess if you're listening to the show, you already know that." So, and he just kept going on with this talk about after like 15 seconds, and he got done. He's like, "Oh, that was terrible." I'm like, "No, that's gold."
It's like, no, that's perfect. Yeah.
He didn't know it, but it was gold. That's some of the stuff. That's some stuff we're going to be doing on the show, especially when we first come back. Now we get done with that interview, we're going to say, "Hey, you got a second here? Just take a moment and give us a soundbite here, and we'll be playing that all the time." So the possibilities are endless. It's exciting because it's fun just to bring the show back, but to bring it back in this way and be able to do some things we're going to be able to do with clips, and bowlers. I think I'm really excited, and haven't been this excited about something for a while because when the show ended or previously, I wasn't sure 100% that it would ever come back. I always thought it would, but it needed some time off, and it just feels like it's the right time. Everything came together with you and with technology and with some of the other things, and just stuff you're doing with the background right now. Just that stuff's great. And trying to watch a little bit of this chat over here. We got Toby Myers in here talking about avoiding the black cloud and Bruce I like what you guys have here. It's great to interact with the people. Like I said, that's something we'll do a little bit of. We just won't do near as much of because we're going to be focusing on the guests. But you guys this is your show right now, and this is what you guys do. So this is good stuff. And it's good to see people interacting. I don't have the amount. How many people are watching right now?
There's 47 people watching right now, but normally after we get done with the show, we'll have anywhere from 1,500 to 2,000 people that end up watching the show after the fact. Even if they can't make it live, it'll still archive and they can still see it later. They can play it while they're driving halfway across the country, delivering FedEx or UPS packages or whatever else. So
it's a Wednesday night. People are blowing a leak. We get that.
So,
but this is going to be a popular watch back. I guarantee it.
So. Yeah.
Bruce is adding some other stuff in here. I don't know if you want to talk about it or not. But I think
just ignore him. He's a little slow.
Yeah, Diana still remembers, by the way, because when I went to have Verity on 30 Clean, and this was a couple of years after. I mean, Diana was on with Columbia, and then she switched to Storm probably 3 or 4 years ago. And so it was a couple of years in between me putting that video out and then having Verity on 30 Clean. And I said, Verity mentioned something about maybe having Diana on at the same time. And so I said something, And she said something like, "Oh, you're going to make another parody or whatever." I'm like, "Oh crap, she remembers me."
I mean, I thought it was gold.
Yeah, it was. I thought it was funny, but I have a weird sense of humor. But yeah, so that'd be. And again, some of these people, at the U.S. Open, the lefties were, aside from Wesley Lowe, they were kind of half shut out.
Yep.
Well, and then as soon as this week comes around, then all of a sudden all the lefties are. Jesper Svensson wins the tournament earlier.
They have the China.
Bowling against Paki, and all the lefties. Michael Holloman was up there, and it just lefty on that. But yeah, Spencer Robarge, talked to him a little bit. I've talked to Wesley Lowe, watched some of the videos, and so it's going to be really interesting to get to talk to some of these people. And of course, Darren Tang, somebody like Darren and Michael Tang, that Darren's all over YouTube, and I kind of haven't ever talked to him before, but we have, there's a few of us that kind of have the top YouTube channels right now for bowling reviews and whatever else. So
absolutely,
I'm kind of excited to be able to talk to several of these people that I haven't really, that we each know of each other, but we until you run into AJ Chapman at a tournament or something like that, you don't really have a chance to talk to some of these people. So that's probably what I'm excited for the most.
Yeah, that's the part that I can bring to you. I can, even though I lost a lot of personal phone numbers in my last phone crash, and I'm regretting a lot of that, I still have ways of contacting everybody. And like you said earlier, I think there was probably 2 or 3 bowlers that I didn't have on the show and at the time. Pete Weber never was able to make it on the show. Tom Doherty never wanted to be on the show. And Bill O'Neill, I don't think I ever had him on for whatever reason.
God, he'd be gold.
Yeah, everybody else in the bowling world, I had on at least once, and a lot of guys more than once, depending on what they were achieving that week, or if they just had something to add. Or to be honest, towards the end of the show, I was just trying to get people on who might have something to add to the show with something that was going on in their bowling life, tournament life, whatever. So I'm looking forward to reconnecting with a lot of these guys, getting them on the show. There's going to be some fun moments on the show that we're going to be able to bring that nobody else can. They can post innocuous, vague posts, as we've seen on Facebook. Some that get less vague and innocuous when the comments come out. But we're going to be able to allow people to talk about situations that happen. This stuff happens. Some of it's controversial, some of it gets blown out of proportion, but you gotta have some of that. I mean, our main goal is to bring on people talking about their wins, their achievements, bowling equipment, and stuff like that. But occasionally we're going to have people on talking about something that might be uncomfortable to actually speak about, rather than making a Facebook post. And I think that venue, especially with the situation with Sean last week, is invaluable, because a lot of stuff still, even to this day after Facebook has been talking about it, some people don't realize exactly what happened or what he was talking about. So yeah, that's what I'm looking forward to. Besides the fact that doing this with you, I know you've done a lot of good things for Storm with the videos, and probably should have been employee of the month more than the one time that you were, or whatever, the staffer of the month. But I think this is going to be a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to it. We're only just showing you that 2-hour thing. We're only 35 minutes past when I was going to leave. So this is what happened.
Yeah.
Well,
no, that's
John. Sorry for hijacking your show here.
No,
good, buddy.
This is great. This is less things that we have to come up with. So we kind of talk every once in a while. It's like, what are we going to do for the show this week? What are we going to talk about? And so this is again when it's just going to be like the bowler show, when we can ask a few questions and just let them go off on whatever they want to talk about. And Bill O'Neill again would be a great one to have on, because if you don't. I'm not on Twitter anymore because it's not interesting to me. But
good takes on
Bill O'Neill gets on Twitter and posts some of the best stuff that you've ever heard in your life. he posted something the other day. Is like it just in case because he rooms with Belmo.
Yeah, they're friends.
They're pretty good friends. They room together on tour. And he said, just in case, everybody asking me what it's like to room with Belmo. And so Belmo made the Players Championship show. He's like, just in case you're wondering, it's like I was done a long time ago. Or he won the Players Championship and then he made the U.S. Open show.
Yeah.
And so he's like, just in case you're wondering, like I was done on the U.S. Open like a day or two ago. And he's like, and so, Belmo's bowling on the show right now. Yeah. I went to Target and wandered around for a while. And then I went to the mall and whatever else. I'm just stalling while he's finishing up. What an honor. So he has some of the best stuff ever. So he would be great to have on because he's kind of like he's kind of a loose cannon, but he's not like we've talked about how great it would be to have Pete Weber on the show. It's one of those things where it's like it's the best show. It'll either be the best show you've ever done or the last show that you'll ever do because they'll have to kick you off the air because of something he says. But so I mean the possibilities are endless with this, and I'm pretty excited.
No, I'm not to go dragging anything too much further, but I'm excited for you guys. I'm excited for you, especially Waz. This is awesome to bring it back. I've been saying it should come back for a while. Also, want to give you a huge shout out. We know we talked about it before we first started, but huge shout out and thank you for what you do for our local bowlers as well.
Oh yeah.
Just to keep things a little local at the same time. What you guys do, all of you, is amazing. We love you all. Without you guys, there's no competitive bowling in the area.
Yeah,
and it's seriously, hats off to you guys, and we appreciate it. We'll see you this weekend too.
The opportunities that are provided to donate to Trevor and Pga and Dylan and Brian Burt and all those guys. I mean, I didn't know what I was going to do with all this extra money that I'm making from these tens and tens of dollars that I'm making for my YouTube empire. But you've really been instrumental in
allowing us to give them money.
Yeah.
You understand the reason that I'm on that side of the tournament counter, correct?
Oh my God! Yeah. I've been on both sides of the tournament counter. I definitely understand.
Luckily, I've been fortunate enough that some of those winnings have bought me a couple beers.
Yeah. I'm going to start contending for some stuff. I figured some stuff out, so.
I'm looking forward to this weekend. I'm really looking forward to it. I think I'm going to bowl halfway decent this weekend.
Yeah. My wife appreciates me being on this side of the counter.
We appreciate her too, just as much as we appreciate you. How about that?
Yeah. Instead of donating, but John, thanks for saying that. We can't do it without guys like you. You guys bowl 20 tournaments a year. You bowl
it's
of our tournaments whenever you can, and we can do it. And when we start going out of town here to Wichita, Springfield, and Topeka and stuff. We don't even really think about it, but we know people are traveling. Some of the guys are traveling an hour, 3 hours every time we have a tournament. And you don't think until you actually do it. Oh, this place is going to the dogs right now.
We got to gather.
Anyway, it's a mutual thing. Mike and I love what we're doing. When Mike brought me in 5 or 6 years ago, I was just, hey, you want to do scores? I need somebody to do scores. He had been doing it with his ex, and he asked me, and I thought, this would be kind of fun to get scores, and that's all I was doing. Was getting scores for him to do brackets, and that was it. Well, it just kind of morphed into me doing more and more, and I stopped working at Harris, and I had more time to do stuff, so I started doing more on Facebook and talking to bowlers, and we started getting more and more bowlers, and now obviously. This weekend on Sunday, we have a doubles tournament at Lunar that we have every year, Super Bowl doubles, and I have 48 teams signed up, and I've got 5 or 6 on the wait list here right in front of me. And Saturday will probably be in the 50s, maybe low 60s. But we can't, we're allowing you guys this opportunity to do it, but we can't do it without the bowlers. And you guys specifically are traveling an hour to an hour and a half for any tournament. Kansas City, so it goes both ways. But we can't do it without the bowlers. Speaking of which, are you guys on the list for Saturday? I've already.
You've got me down.
I don't know. We kind of just. It's like Dave and Mike are having a tournament. We'll be there.
I know I got you down for Sunday.
Yeah. So I mean, I think it's one of those things where we need to just set up with like, if you have a tournament, we will be there unless we say otherwise.
I know I signed it. I had to sign it. I was a maybe because Trevor was moving.
Yeah.
So I told you to go ahead and sign me and Trevor up.
Yeah. So just if you have a tournament, put us down, and if we're not going to make it, we'll tell you. But otherwise, we're going to be there if at all possible, because we just.
So John, while I've got you, is Trevor bowling or not?
Yes, he's bowling Saturday and Sunday.
Yeah.
I've got him down for Sunday, but I had you and him as a semi question mark, and I do have the Rose Dolls down.
Yeah.
Yes,
we
we're
will
bowling
be there
Saturday.
both days. We're staying in Independence, I believe. So
Trevor and I are riding together both days because
Yeah,
they're
we're-
still moving, so we got to get back to get that all worked out. So
Okay, well, that's taken care of. I'm glad we did that while we were on the air. So
yeah,
live on the air.
And
Trevor, you're now
Mr.
signed up.
Mr. James Kniffen,
Kniffen.
yeah, the K is silent, is actually considering moving to Kansas City because he likes the bowling.
Does he not like warm weather?
Yeah, well, his parents, he's from Raleigh, North Carolina. His parents recently moved to Florida, and so he doesn't have, and he works from home.
So yeah.
So yeah, he might. He is looking into the possibilities of perchance looking this direction because of the bowling scene. So
That's
we're
also
gonna try to talk him into it, but
that's also a big reason. Big reason for that is because of you guys. Man,
yeah,
like I said,
it's
both you guys are all fantastic. Honestly, you're all kind of like family to us. We enjoy
Yeah.
seeing you every time we see you. I know my daughter enjoys seeing you,
yeah,
and we all love Gabby, love Kim,
yeah.
and then there's Mike.
This weekend we're gonna be coming with goat soap and chocolate milk and all kinds of things.
stick your head
So,
Oh, and I'm bringing you Girl Scout cookies this weekend.
yeah, oh yeah, we got Girl Scout cookies too.
No, lean over here. Gabby wants to get in the picture real quick. So
Oh,
Come on in, Gabby.
hey, Gabby, we're bringing chocolate milk this weekend.
And Girl Scout cookies.
Yeah, chocolate milk.
she's trying on the couch. You got to scooch
all
over.
right.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Hey, but Gabby's in the vicinity. There she is.
Yep.
Pull your shirt up a little.
Gabby,
You're not doing anything. But
so
yeah,
chocolate milk, Girl Scout delivery.
Gabby,
Okay.
Rayman, some of the other kids. It's fun seeing you guys. And to be honest, I wish I had more time during the tournaments to interact with everybody. There's times people say, "Hey, where am I at in the standings?" or "Did you see my last game?" I'm like, we really don't see much of the bowling. People don't realize. I didn't know that when
You don't have
I had no idea. And besides the silly questions like, "Hey, did I win my bracket?" Of course, we don't know
Yeah,
that.
I know.
Hey, why don't you look at the board?
Yeah, we'll post them down there. Just give us a second.
Tell Mike to stop talking.
We might get it
There's
posted. Yeah, we might get it posted a little later than some other tournaments, but that's a different story.
there's 100 people in the building that you're entering scores for. Just give us a minute. We'll put it up on the. We'll cover all the windows of the den at Aaron's with all the brackets and the standings results and all that stuff. So.
And I don't know if you guys have noticed, but Mike has pared that down a lot. He doesn't post every bracket every round anymore. He only posts the finals. So
Yeah, and then it's too much to keep up with. Even when we were doing the little tournament that we had with like 40 people in Topeka for 3 games and then a bracket after that, that's a whole lot to keep up with because some pairs finish earlier than other pairs, and you kind of have to wait until you get all the scores to enter everything. And by the time you get all the scores entered and stuff printed off, I mean, most people are halfway through the next game for the 7th or 8th frame. So it's really hard to keep up with.
Oh yeah, by far.
yeah, when groups are together and not far off, it's pretty simple. Obviously, singles tournament is nothing. But when you have a doubles tournament and a pair or two, even mention names, a couple of
Yeah.
than others, that can be a problem. Keeping up with that is very tricky for Mike, and he does the best that he can.
Yeah.
Try to keep up with that stuff, but it's just when there's 2 tournaments running at once, and one pair's frames behind, it's really hard. People are like, What do you mean you don't have game 2 up there? We're in game 4. It's like,
Sorry if
Yeah.
that's my group.
Yeah, because you have whenever you have doubles tournaments, you also have singles tournaments, and so you have to separate that you have to have a different or 2 different windows up.
Yeah.
Or you're basically running 2 different tournaments, and there's side action for both tournaments. And so when you have 48 doubles teams like we had at Aaron's a couple weeks ago, for the mixed doubles, the women's tournament and the mixed doubles went really well. And then you have 48 teams. That's 96 people that you have to enter scores for. Most of those people are going to get in the singles portion of it too. And so you're entering, just think about entering 98 people's worth of information. Like I had something I have a new job now, and I had to go look up information for 112 different bridges today. And just the time it takes to individually this. I mean, it just takes a ridiculous amount of time.
Yeah.
And then especially if you're doing it twice.
Yeah.
So you have 48 teams to enter, and then you have all the single stuff to enter after that, and then you have to print everything off, and then you have to go hang everything up, and then you have people coming and asking questions and whatever else, and it takes time.
And then you have Discord.
Yeah.
Yeah, and there's times where, people want to talk to Mike, or just, hey, this situation happened. The guy's using powder down here, or score changes. You name
Somebody's got way holes.
Somebody's got the front 9. I've got to leave, and I can't get scores while I'm filming that and stuff like that. So there's a lot of other stuff. Again, when I was bowling, I never understood really, but I'm pretty sure you guys do. Some do and some don't, and that's just the way it is. But there's situations that happen. God forbid a pair breaks down, stuff like that can really put a wrench into getting stuff out. But as a general rule, I think we're close. They're the doubles tournaments. I know some other people that run some tournaments not close to here that don't have any issues, but they got a staff of like 5 or 6 people getting scores, putting them in, doing stuff for them, and basically it's funny because John's wife Amanda has helped out, and we've had some other people helping out, and especially doubles tournaments. We're really only at doubles tournaments, and it helps me a lot for them to bring the scores, and it kind of gets them involved too, and then they make a little money. It's kind of it's kind of fun that way, but I think they got a better appreciation of what goes on from game to game, and especially what goes on when pairs start screwing up and the pairs are way behind other pairs, and how that affects people 5, 6, 7 in the tournament. So.
Oh yeah, I know Amanda said the same thing.
Yeah, just our singles tournaments that we used to do that were 40, 45 people.
Late night.
Are busy enough, and so double that. Yeah, and Angel and I were running it, and we'd often have help from Amanda and some other people who were just, hey, I'll help out however I can. And 2 or 3 people for running a tournament for 100 people is a lot bigger undertaking than you expect until you've actually done it.
There was one night you had to leave, and Amanda and I ran the rest of the tournament.
Yeah. And it's one of those things that's like, well, all of a sudden you start running into these situations that you didn't really expect. It's kind of like, oh, well, yeah, we'll just take scores and this person will go to this pair and whatever else. But then all of a sudden, okay, well, we have a tie or something. So we got to do this. And then we have, okay, well, I accidentally fat fingered something in the system. And somebody says, hey, I didn't shoot, 130 that game. I shot 230 that game. And so then you got to backtrack and take care of that. And it's just a whole lot tougher than people realize.
Human error is going to happen in those, like you said. The fat finger, or me, dyslexic Dave putting in 234 instead of 243 or whatever. It's just going to happen. Speaking of your producer, just going to make sure that she's always been cool about bringing Gabby stuff and bringing cookies and stuff. I just want to make sure that when we're on site at your house, that's available on the nights that I'm in town too.
Yeah, we'll definitely be stocked up on chocolate milk and cookies. We will have no shortage of chocolate milk and cookies.
Well, as far as Gabby's concerned, most of the Gabby nights will be at the den if she's involved.
Yeah.
I won't probably be bringing her out, but yeah, she is a chocolate milk hound. And Angel says in the chat she's going to have popcorn shrimp, which for me is the world's pickiest eater and will not eat that. So she'll have to eat something else. I'm sure she'll have something appropriate. Or I'll be bringing stuff over.
Yeah.
We can.
I got to give a quick shout out real quick. There's a gentleman that just joined us in the chat. Hey guys, working late, just jumped on first live broadcast. Hashtag 303 Creations. Been Gaten from down in, I want to say Dallas Fort Worth area that created these ball cups.
Yeah, these are super cool.
You can find them on 303 Creations cool. on Facebook. These are amazing.
It's on Facebook.
Sorry, Waz.
Yeah, no, they don't have a website or whatever, but these are super cool. These are handmade.
Yes.
These are awesome.
Amazing. So, these were given to us as a gift, and I will get more.
Yep.
That's
awesome. Support small businesses, please.
Now, Angel will obviously have some food here and there, and then, like I said, we might order pizza or whatever. And it just reminded me of a story on the Bowler Show. Back, actually, it was on. We had a show called the Sports Schmucks, which preceded the Bowler Show. And actually, the Bowler Show spawned off from just a sports show. For some of you real old timers, when James and I first went on the radio in like 2009. But we had Domino's as a sponsor, and they would give us free pizza during the show. So what James and I started doing was when the delivery driver would show up, we're live on the air on the radio. Yeah. We just put the delivery driver into the studio, and he'd be trying to be real quiet and handing it off. And we're like, okay, hey, while you're here, grab this other mic and let's talk some sports. Who's your high school team? And we just bring them and put them on the show because that's what we did back then. So that we just we bring on the Domino's delivery driver and put them on the show and put them on the spot. Sometimes some of the kids loved it and some of them were like, you could tell they were just terrified, because we might have on the radio at that time being at night, because 1140 went off the air basically at like 6 o'clock at night during the winter.
Yeah.
Whenever daylight was. So there's times during the year we weren't even we were on, but you couldn't hear us unless you were in the greater Liberty area. So they'd be terrified thinking, thousands of people are listening when maybe 3 people at the time. So, but it was fun to do. And that's stuff you and I'll do. We're going to have a lot of fun. People are going to realize early on, we've got Belmo on, we've got whoever on. And then we're also going to put some schmucks in the bowling world, let's just say it that way, that maybe won one of our tournaments or, guys in town here, Brad Miller, Pga, whoever, somebody's in town. They want to come by and be live in the studio. We might even do that. We've done that with bowlers before.
Yeah, that would be cool. Mr. Hawes here actually grew up with Brad Miller in the Kansas City area. So if we grew up a little more.
Yeah, we lived like Brad, a block away from each other.
Yeah, Brad happens to be in the area.
Before we have it further, has Brad or Jonathan either grown up yet?
I mean, do we not look alike other than
Okay, I'm sorry, Luke.
From Gary Stover. All right.
Wow. But so I mean, and that would be really cool because when we streamed the women's tournament last weekend, and we had a bunch of good bowlers there, a lot of Wichita State, Newman collegiate bowlers that were there, and so Sarah Clausen, for those of you that know her channel, and then. Whenever we have tournaments here, Brad bowls. If Brad's in the area, he'll bowl. If Packy's in the area, he'll bowl. We've had Jacob Buttriff at a couple of the tournaments. And Kyle Sherman, he's not too far away. He's bowled several times too. So if we get done with the tournament on a Sunday and we have Brad and Kyle in the house, sure, hop on, stream with us. We'll book them for the bowler show and just go right from the tournament right into the bowler show and have Brad and Kyle on. So that's what's really cool.
Do we have any of them signed up for the weekend? I know they're on tour stuff, but I saw that Zach Wilson said he was going. But
no, they are not. None of those guys are signed up this weekend, so you'll be doing a little less donating than normal.
Mm-hmm.
So
we'll just need to take Trevor and Dylan up.
I put some big numbers up Tuesday night at a house that's difficult.
Impossible.
So look out. Yeah, well, We'll see if I can actually remember what the hell I was doing.
Yeah,
But
Tomorrow night.
are Brad and Packy bowling this weekend? No, John, they're not bowling.
No, they're busy.
They're on tour. They basically I don't know if they're coming home for a day and then heading straight out to Michigan or to Indiana or what. But
yeah,
I would think Brad would probably just go with Kyle and stay in
They're
St.
busy.
Louis for a day or two. But,
yeah, and that's some of the challenge, Luke, that we'll have is a lot of guys are traveling Sunday nights, but we can also bring them on the show while they're traveling for the ones who are comfortable with or have a driver or whatever while they're driving. There's going to be, I can't tell you how many times we lost people in the mountains or we had them on and in flights, they're announcing the flight, I got to go, and stuff like that. It's the perfect time to have the show, but it's also a little bit tricky because a lot of guys are traveling from venue that they bowled on at that time. But we're another hour back, 6 to 8. I think that's going to be just about the perfect time where we're going to miss most of those problems. But that's, you're going to see, just like you and I had before we even started, we had some technological stuff, mostly on my end, trying to figure out, and stuff like that's going to happen. We're going to have little blips like that again. And we're not going to be a professional thing that's on the radio that we have to follow FCC stuff and have commercials at exact times. We're going to be able to kind of do whatever we want. Just like you getting up and leaving the screen right now. That's going to happen. I'm going to be taking drinks out of liquid during the show and stuff like that. It's going to be fun. We're going to have, it's going to be all bowling related. We're going to be talking to bowlers and doing everything we can seriously. We're going to have a lot of fun, as you can see, just like you guys have on your show. That's amazing. The show's not any fun unless we're having fun, and sometimes at the bowler's expense, and that's just the way it is. And
this comment right here is good. Listening to the description of your local bowling community is bittersweet for me. I drive 3+ hours round trip twice a week to bowl. It'd be great to have such a community near me. Yeah, Jess, we are very, very blessed to have what we have in the area. And like I said earlier in the show, people like Dave, Mike, Kim, and of course Gabby. You can't leave Gabby out. But people like them that take time out of their days on their weekends to put stuff like this together for us so that we can compete basically almost week in and week out. It feels like sometimes. But it's stuff like this that they allow us to compete, and whether you're starting out in tournaments or you're a pretty good player or you're a really good player, it's a perfect platform to go bowl. It's absolutely perfect, and we appreciate all that they do for us. So thank you guys.
Well, thank you for bowling, and we can put these out, and we got 20, 25 bowlers like we may have gotten 5 or 6 years ago. Then, it's not worth doing. But we have such a great response and such a good bowling community here in the Midwest that we're able to do these. And to be perfectly honest, now it's every other weekend we have 2 tournaments pretty much. So
and then other than September.
And then we have ACO then. But, I don't know. I was wondering where Jess is actually, where he lives. It's that far. That's too bad. It takes.
Good question, Jess. Where are you from?
So we'll see if he answers that in the chat. But John, like I said, I never got an appreciation for how far you guys. It's an hour to drive it. It's an hour both ways, hour and a half depending on where we're at Kansas City, and that's a lot. That's we learned that. So Jess says he's in Southwest Alabama. So he's.
That makes sense. Alabama's not really known as a hot spot of bowling.
I don't know if I can name a bowler from Alabama right off. Did AJ Rice come from there originally?
Maybe. That's a good. He might have.
Maybe Jess knows that. I can't remember. I think he's in South Carolina now. But
I think you're right.
I like DJ.
No, sorry. Yeah, we love traveling to your tournaments. Trust me, if it wasn't for being well ran and whatnot, we wouldn't pick that tribe. It's like I said, it's because of you guys.
All right. Well, Luke is back, so we can stop talking about him. I don't know.
Yeah.
From where he was at, if he was baking cookies or taking care of the dogs or what he was doing, but he is back. Luke, we were just talking with Jess there a little bit about how far he has to drive to get to bowling tournaments and how he feels like we're lucky to be able to have what we have. Even you guys coming
Oh
from
yeah.
an hour to an hour and a half away. That's a challenge. That's 3 hours.
Well, it's kind of funny too that Casey Murphy drives up here from, and Kevin Williams has been here too, from Springfield, and so there's been a couple times where he's driven up to like Olathe East for a holiday tournament. He'll drive up and then drive back home, and it's a 2.5 hour drive from Springfield. And I'm like,
almost 3, yeah.
I'm like, holy crap! He drove 3 hours for a tournament. He's like, well, yeah, that's not that bad. And I'm thinking, well, gosh, I mean, an hour and a half. That's not bad at all. I'm not sure I'd drive. It'd be like driving to Hayes for tournaments
On one day.
Well, yeah.
Idiots
know
that do
exactly
that. I
about
don't know who does that.
So
Got home at 12:30, by the way. No, 12.
So yeah, having great leagues that are a half an hour away, and then tournaments that hour and a half away. That's really fortunate to have that just right here.
Yeah, we're blessed. We're really blessed to have that.
So
yeah,
we're going to continue doing what we're doing, and now we're going to be, they're at the KC tournaments. I'll bring it up this weekend. We'll talk about you and I bringing back the bowler show. I'll try to remember that for our announcements. But KC is actually signed up for Saturday, so we'll see. There's some bowlers you'd be amazed. Some of the guys that live an hour and a half. Well, not even that. Like the Springfield guys and Wichita guys. There's some of them that bowl Saturday, drive home, and come back the next day. Which
Dylan Burns.
Some do that. Yeah. Some of them don't stay in town, and
we'll be staying Saturday night.
Dylan Burns is that he does that all the time, but he is actually staying at Trevor Saturday, and him and Dylan and I are riding together on Sunday. So.
Yeah, and besides
you, we're all watching the Super Bowl. So
Dylan and Trevor are some of you guys know because you're good friends with them, but those are the kind of bowlers. And to be honest, overall in our tournaments, the younger guys in our tournaments are really good. The guys who are troublemakers are usually the older guys. I don't know if you guys have noticed.
Yeah.
The kids are well trained in these colleges at Wichita State, like you said, and where they're coming from. They know they can't, they can't be goofing around and kicking ball returns and stuff like that. Overall, our kids are great in these tournaments. If we run into anybody complaining or issues, to be perfectly honest with some of the veterans, and you guys know where I'm talking about.
Yeah, it's the old crotchety guys.
Yep.
So, back when I was a kid, and I may have kicked a ball return or two. That was the problem. It was the young kids and the old whippersnappers saying, "Hey, what are you doing? It's not the ball return."
Ball return just laying into one.
Yeah.
Guys like Gordon Badden, who, Gordon went into the Wichita State Hall of Fame this week. Guys like him who've trained these bowlers, and Mark Lewis and some of the other coaches from other programs. They've got these kids, doing it the right way. And I like the Newman kids, I'll throw out some more names. Chaston Poas, McIver, Desco, Rock. I'm sure I'm missing a couple there that come up, and when one comes up, when one comes up, they almost always all come up, and they're great. And the other thing they do is they bowl when they're up. They're never not the first one's done. They bowl when they're up, and
I promise I bowl when I'm up.
Yeah,
there are many that don't, and that's something Mike and I maybe could do a little bit better job on, but we just don't nitpick on that stuff that much. And
it's hard to, though.
It's so hard to.
Yeah. If we started everybody knows it's going to be 5 or 10 after before I start the announcements. And we just have a few that come in late. And to be honest, during those doubles tournaments, when people are turning in 3 forms at a time, sometimes it takes a long time for people.
Trevor
and Dylan. Trevor and Dylan are too busy plotting out who needs to be where, and I want to make sure they avoid each other. And then next thing you know, it's 10 o'clock. It's like, can you turn your sheets in, guys, so we can start?
Well, just an FYI, I will be late on Sunday because I am riding with Trevor and Dylan.
So it's not a damn. We figured this out having the women's tournament that started early.
Yes.
It's not Adamski time. It's Carter Baumgartner time.
Yeah. Carter, Baumgartner, and Burns.
Yeah.
I announced it, and I posted something last year about the women's tournament. It's my favorite tournament of the year. I hardly get yelled at. Nobody's complaining about I left 6-10 pins as I'm coming through getting or whatever. And they're great. They're on time. Same thing when we do a senior tournament. Everybody's there. It's 10 till I can start the tournament.
Yeah.
That's just, I don't know. We've had a couple of people and a couple of prominent PBA bowlers will just say bowl our stuff that weren't thrilled with the fact that we didn't start on time. And I just basically told them it's just the way it is. We're not going to tell somebody they can bowl if they're 5 minutes away.
Yeah, no.
But that's what we do. And like last week, and I'll call him out too, Derek Lewis, who I love, occasionally isn't on time. And he was running extremely late this week, so much so that I valet parked his car. I learned some new music in the process. I'll just say that.
Yeah.
And that's what we do for bowlers who are late. I met him at the front door. He brought his stuff in, and then I parked his car. And so that's just some of the stuff we do. I just can't.
Did he at least give you a tip?
He did not. He did not. He gave me what music to listen to. I'll say that. I've got to look up some of the stuff.
No, there was a couple years ago we were bowling it was at Lunar, and you had there was a wreck on the highway.
Yeah.
And there was a bunch of people that said, "Hey, we're running late or whatever." I was the last one that showed up, like a half an hour late. We left a half an hour early, but then traffic was backed up forever. I couldn't get there on time, and we said, "Oh, there's a few other people and whatever."
That was the
else.
tournament right before the COVID shutdown.
Yeah.
I remember that tournament. By the way, I do want to give you a shout out. I know we talked a little bit about it as well. On top of the other stuff and all the Tour of Kansas City stuff you do, the women's tournament that you ran,
oh my god,
is amazing. Luke and I live streamed it, of course, and we had a blast doing it. I know my wife loved it. Amanda
didn't have to bowl, didn't donate.
Amanda loved it, but the fact that you did that for the women was really cool, and I would love to see something like that more than once a year.
Yeah.
We're running out of times. As many tournaments as we run, like last year. I can't remember what happened with the women's tournament last year, but the year before COVID knocked it out. It'd been a couple of years. 42 girls showing up, and then more importantly, even the next day, getting 48 women.
48
men.
Teams.
That's hard to do. It's hard to get the women. Usually we have a lot of men going, "Hey, I need a girl. Can you find me a girl to bowl with?" And it's not always easy. But to see that many, and we have requests all the time for run a Baker, run this, do this, and even going out of town now. There's just so many things we could do that there's just not enough. Not enough dates.
Heck, I'd even love to see you do an out of town one and do a same thing, do a women's tournament and then a mixed tournament. I would love that.
I need to find an old person for the over under 50.
While you're
another 10 years, and I'll have my over 50 for a couple months. But I need to find an old person. Maybe I can sweet talk Tish Johnson into driving out.
There you go.
The producer is obviously who you're talking about, and I know she's looking for. I know. Yeah. I might have one. Richard Joby's looking. I've got my list right here, so I've got. And to be honest, that thing's 2.5 weeks away, and I probably got 2018 signed up for that already. So it's
that's one of my favorite.
If you have an old person looking for a young person, or a kind of
a ginger,
an over 50 looking for an under 50, I'm going to try to ask.
If you have an over 50 looking for a ginger,
yeah.
And that's a 6-game tournament now. Just to let you guys know, we changed it from 8 because it's a 24-lane house, and if we put 3 teams on a pair at 36, which looks like we're going to get to easily. That would turn that into a long day, and then the next day, the seniors are bowling here in town. That's part of the reason why we're this weekend. Seniors have their own tournament. Myself, I'll probably be bowling at Crown.
Can you likely share that information to me on Facebook, please? Because my partner probably would want to bowl that.
The senior
tournament.
Yes.
Yeah, sure. I'll send you a link right after we're done.
I appreciate it.
I would imagine that you you guys are probably ready to wrap this up. You've been on over 2 hours. I've been on an hour and 40.
Yeah.
And 30 minutes. So Luke, that
Yeah,
right
I'm
there.
ready to eat some chow.
Just
here,
shows how much
so-
fun we had.
But yeah, this is
I think it's time. I haven't seen Angel get in there and say, "Hey, dinner's ready yet," but I imagine it's
no.
She's trying to run the show.
Yeah.
He's working too. So let me say something real quick, and then you guys can wrap up your show. I know, like I said, I ended up hijacking the rest of the show here, but
this is great.
I'm happy to receive. Actually, it said we got over 100 messages. That's awesome. I'm really happy to bring this back. And Luke, I know you're going to be professional and you're going to have a lot of fun with me, and you're going to be able to take care of the logistical stuff that I'm not good at. So I'm looking forward to bringing this back. I'll do the best I can and bringing in the best guests we can. You can bring in whoever you want to get on the show also, and I'm really looking forward to it. So check us out, Luke and Dave. I don't know, we can come up with nicknames or whatever.
Yeah.
But the Bowler Show is back with Luke Rose and myself, and we'll be on Luke's channel, on his YouTube channel, live 6 to 8 p.m. Central each and every week. So I'm really looking forward to it. John, thanks for everything you do for bowling also.
I love you, Luke.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I will.
Gabby.
I will also make sure every time we schedule a
Chocolate
show, a show is scheduled, I'll share it in our breakdown page, breakdown Facebook page as well.
Yeah, so follow both of them, the Bowler Show on Facebook and the Breakdown Pair on Facebook. And again, as we book guests or whatever else, we'll update our channels, pages, whatever else with
we'll
the
collab.
information. And yeah, I mean it can only help. So
we'll grow together and we'll have some fun and we'll grow the sport of bowling. That's why we're all here, right?
All right, that sounds good. Luke, why don't you go ahead and phase me out, and then you can kind of get used to how some of this stuff works. Get me out of your hair, and then you guys can finish out the show.
Well, thank you, man.
Yeah.
I don't know if you heard me. I'm bringing Girl Scout cookies to you Saturday.
That's right. Have we paid for those or not?
Yes.
We did
I
pay
believe so. I'll double check, but I believe so.
Yeah, I think we did, but we'll figure that out. But that's just some of the fun stuff we do with tournaments and what Luke and I are going to be doing with the show. That's just
and once again, thank you again for that. So
Luke,
we'll see you on Saturday.
So get me out of here, zap me out, do whatever you got to do. Give me the proper outro.
Bye, Gabby.
Bye. Love you guys. Have fun.
Love you.
yeah,
Hot mess.
we'll see y'all on Saturday and Sunday. Thanks for joining us. Bowler Show again, starting back up March 6th, 6 to 8 p.m. Central. Already got a few people booked for that, and looking forward to it. So thanks a bunch, Dave. We will see you this weekend, and we will see you again for the premiere of the return of the Bowler Show on March 6th. So thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
Yep. All right.
Yeah. Sorry.
We're back full
Jinx.
screen. So yeah.
Hope everybody enjoyed that. That's a really
See
cool.
more of this in HD.
It's a really cool announcement that we are excited to make. I know a lot of people in the chat probably do not know who David Wasbo is, but he's an amazing ambassador for our sport. As you heard, he worked for the USBC for a month in Vegas at the beginning of the Open Championships last year.
Yeah.
He used to run on a radio, the Bowler Show, like you heard, with a lot of amazing guests. And now it's going to be live on the YouTube. So
yeah, so it's going to be super cool. And then Canizaro is going to be great to have on, and it's going to be a bunch of fun. And we'll have that, and we'll still be doing the breakdown pair on Wednesday nights too. So it'll be really cool to have the Bowler Show with all kinds of pros and special guests and whatever else on Sunday, and then we'll still have our thing on Wednesday, and
collab.
We can kind of run things back and forth, and it's just going to be a good thing all the way around.
Good partnership too, all the way around too. We're not going anywhere.
No.
Still be here with you on Wednesday.
No. Be a good time. I mean, it's an excuse to
drink some cervezas.
Mm-hmm.
But thank you, everybody. We're going to go ahead and sign off for the night.
Yeah.
Hope everybody enjoyed our special guests.
Yep.
I don't got anything else.
So, thanks everybody. We really appreciate you hanging out, showing up, and next week we might continue the tournament talk.
Yeah, probably.
So yeah, and maybe Trevor's still going to be busy, but
he's actually bowling next Wednesday.
Yep, we will. We will talk more tournament stuff next week. We might even have some. Hopefully, we'll have some good news to share about the tournaments this weekend. Maybe league this week too.
Even better. Yeah.
So.
And I'm still going to work on some guests and stuff for this show. So we'll still
We'll still have some people for this show too.
The show is not going away, and we're still going to give this our effort. So.
Yep, and the set might get a facelift too.
Okay.
So thanks everybody for hanging out. Really appreciate everybody. Once again, follow us, Breakdown Pair on Facebook and the Bowlers Show on Facebook too to see who we have booked for the shows coming up. We got a bunch of cool stuff going on, and yeah, bowling.
Keep supporting bowling, grow the sport of bowling. Thank you.
Valhalla.
Ben, thank you. Thank you for stepping in. Once again, 303 Creations. Check them out.
Yeah, this is great.
Yep.
Amazing.
Support small business.
Ball Cup.
Businesses, sorry.
303 Creations on Facebook.
Thank you.
I'm going to go get some food. I'm hungry.
And I'm going to go home.
Yep. Thanks, y'all. We'll see you.